What's going on, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello. Good to see everybody here, as usual. Let's see. Let's check some audio here. Make sure we are working okay. What's up? All right. Let's see. Do we have audio here? Should be. There it goes, there it goes. Yeah, it's only about a 20-second lag. Yeah, not too bad, right? Wowzers. Let me see. What is happening, everyone out there? What's going on? Long day. Oh. See, all the usual suspects are in here. Josh D's in there. Renee Cruz, that is. Josh D. What's going on, Josh? He said, thank you, Chris. You're welcome, Josh. Mr. Mike Knapp is in there. Mimi Reacts. Says, good evening, Chris, and fellow Martians. Miss Haird's in there. Hello, Miss Haird. Ricardo, what's up? Mr. Ricardo Petrazzi. Robert Morgan's in there. What's going on, Robert? Mars the Second Genesis. What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. David Ewan. I guess that's pronounced correctly. I hope so. What's going on, David? Good to see you in there. Rusty Never Sleeps. What's going on, Rusty? Emma Bowman's in there. Hi from Liverpool, UK. Good to see you in there, Emma. Let's see. John Shop's in there. What's going on, John? Pete Ferrero's in there. What's going on, Pete? Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be chilly here tonight. It's supposed to be down to about 25 degrees Fahrenheit for anybody who's in the UK. And they'd be like, damn, it's going to be hot. No, not Fahrenheit. If it's Celsius, yeah, I can see your point. Mr. John Beck's in there. What's going on, John? Mr. Limey Watchers in there. What's going on, Limey? Good to see you in there. Kyle Harvey, what's happening? What's going on, bro? Ways Easy, what's going on? Oh yeah, Elaine M, what's going on? Hi, Chris and everyone. Hope you're all well. Just got my PC fixed in time. Windows update caused that can happen. It caused it to vanish yesterday. Lucky data seems all there. Phew. I don't blame you. It's a nightmare when everything's running good. It's awesome. It's like, oh, this is so nice. Everything just runs smoothly, and then all of a sudden, just one day, see ya. Oops. Jumped on me again. I love it when it does that. DW Bear, what's happening? He said, hey, everyone. What's going on? Phil C's in there. Hey, Phil. No, this is not new. John, that's the same one I've had there. Get to Mars, let's go. Oh, let's see. Brian Lockgolf, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Mr. Bush Corey's in there. Yep. Let me make this here just a little bigger. There we go. 29 in Buffalo tonight. Yeah, it's around the normal temps. Yeah, you're right. Alfie Joe Bob, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Said hello, everyone. Good to be back. Good to see you there, Alfie. Yeah, Miss Haird. Yeah, you're right. I was, I think we were a couple of degrees warmer than you. I think it was like 30 here. I got down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit early this morning. Brr. Yeah, it's supposed to be like I said, 25 tonight. It'll probably be we're out more in the country instead of in the city. So it might even hit down to about 23 tonight. Who the heck knows? But it's not like I'm not prepared for it. I mean, you just know it's coming, right? But I don't know about your areas, folks, but it just said, you know what, we were thinking about doing the fall part of this, the year, but we're just going to go ahead and do away with that. Just jump right into wintertime. I'm like, what just happened here? But it is what it is, right? Great for all, what's going on? He said, hello, everyone. Good to see you in there, Mr. Great for All. Glenn Marsh is in there. Hi, Chris and everyone from Cape Breton, Oh yeah. What's going on, Glenn? Third Eye Opens in there. Hello. How are you? He said lurking here. I think we're all lurking. Like, shh. We'll just let everybody know we're here. The 51 Project. Your question was, so in a nutshell, what do you think Mars was or now is? I think it was a lush planet, like even NASA says, at one time. But of course, they're talking millions of years ago. I'm not so sure I believe that. But I believe they're there for a recon mission. I believe there was a civilization on Mars just like we have here on Earth, only of course different in their own way they built and whatever transportation, whatever they used back then. And this is just judging by what we see in the photos, right? So, but that's what I think it was. Now, what it is now, I think it's basically a wasteland. However, there's some 50-50 things about, at least a lot of us feel that it's either still has life on it. I believe there's still organics. I believe there's insects and birds. Again, going by the photos we've seen, with things in the sky with motion blur flying by the camera. Now, of course, there's no way to vet any of that. We don't know that for sure. But I believe there may still be survivors on Mars, and they may be living underground, or there's still structures up there. So yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. I believe after these 2 nuclear explosions on the planet back in the day, way back when, after that, it's kind of like if we had that event here on Earth, and it was a major explosion. There was 2 of them in the low orbit of Mars. It wasn't on the ground, and it pretty much decimated the planet. And we're talking huge explosions too. We're not talking about something small like we'd have here on Earth. It's really, really large. And it pretty much wiped the planet of its atmosphere. And I'm sure there was other natural causes, things that might have come from outer space, and maybe another body from outer space hit Mars more than once, whatever. But, that's what pretty much decimated the planet. So we believe that there's still life there, and there may still be structures and everything else, and they may be living or underground. But that's, at least pretty much a consensus right now, right? Oops. What's going on, Renee V? What's happening? He said, hello all. And, of course, Mars and Always and Beyond. Good to see you in there. Pete Ferreira says, Pluto was an eye-opener. Pics were very revealing. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I've done that particular photo a while back, a few years back, and I've seen the things that I had in this new one, but I found even more stuff because, as you progress in this and you learn everything that you do in these photos, you adapt. And, of course, now you can bring up more in these photos, right? So that's what it comes down to. That's why sometimes you got to revisit these old ones, because then you can reveal some stuff that you presently, well, at the time, you couldn't find in the photo. Just some things, but not all, right? MG Toey said, Mars looks like it was a technological, Stone Age planet. Everything is made of stone. Well, I'm wondering if some of that was, not encrusted in over the years, because it has water cycles on Mars, and of course you get the dust blowing around, you have these dust storms. I wonder over the years it just didn't cake on to a lot of this stuff, and this is the reason why some of it, and I believe most of it was manipulated, with their, basically, their rock mimicking tools that can make anything look like a rock. But I'm wondering if a lot of that stuff's been encrusted over the years, again, because of the rain, then it blowing wind and everything else, and dust storms, and I wonder if over the years it didn't encrust a lot of this stuff we see laying on the ground too, right? Kyle Lowry, thank you very much, sir, for your support, man. You're awesome. Marijuana is actually really good for you. People who smoke, getting... Oh, get it, I think you were saying. Exactly what exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, it can be very beneficial as far as, to me, as long as it's not like made like in a place, right? Although you can do that now, and of course, but most people are like, I'm not going to get that synthesized garbage. I'm going to go out and, of course, they got their own hemp plants and whatever else, right? Yeah, I think they prefer the old-fashioned stuff. Let's see. John Sharp, your question was, how can Pluto have a warm front? Well, I don't know about a warm front now. At one time, it probably was. And again, we are our binary solar system, right? We had two suns. One is now a dead dwarf. It's out way out the outer reaches of our outermost planet, well, of the body, Pluto. And in my opinion, I think what happened was both of these suns at one point. Now, keep in mind, like I said before, scientists are now saying that our solar system is bigger, that we have more planets basically revolving around our sun, have their own orbits and everything else. So there's more than just 8 planets in one body, right? I don't know if they call it a planetoid now. It's hard to tell what the hell they call it in Pluto. But so we have that, but the scientists come out and say, no, there's more than that many more. I think there's like 4 or 5 more planets. But regardless of that, this other sun's supposed to be way out there. And if it was, you know, actually active, meaning it was an actual sun, and of course millions of years ago, and if it was heating the outside of these planets, then there could have been life on every single planet. And like I said before, let's suppose I'm wrong, and it could very well be. What if, like I said before, just because you're an alien, it doesn't mean you can't live on a planet that has no atmosphere. You could literally build underground. I mean, some of your structures can be above ground, but ultimately, like we've seen that rectangular opening, you just fly right down there, drive down, whatever it is they do, go right down into the actual planetoid, or whatever they want to call it today. I still call it a planet, whatever. But let's suppose some of the structures are above ground and most of them are down, under the ground, under the surface. They can live on any planet they choose to, as long as they can make their own environment. You know, like I said, I mean, like, you know, turn carbon into, you know, oxygen, or some other gas into oxygen, or maybe they don't breathe oxygen. We just assume that a living organism has got to have strictly oxygen, or forget about it. We don't know that. You know, we're going by what our scientists say. That doesn't mean that they're aware of it. I mean, it could be something totally new they never knew, and they're going to go, wow, we didn't know these beings could breathe such a gas, or a combination of gases, right? We don't know. We have no idea. Paul McCoon, what's going on? He said, evening all, just in, guys. What's going on, Paul? Good to see you in there. What's going on, Cameron? He said, how are you, Chris? I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good, Cameron. Yeah, I've heard of that MG tow. You said, look at the planetoid Sedna and see what you find. Seemed to me somebody else said the same thing. Oh, you need to check that out. I do, I guess. Let's see. Oops. They moved on me here. Hold on. There we go. George Mayer, what's going on? Good to see you there, George. Your Highness, what's happening? Good to see you in there. Bushcore, you said, I was talking to a bloke the other day that was saying solar flare wiped Mars out, but wouldn't the flare wipe out Earth before Mars? Well, that's true. So that's why I don't believe that's the case at all. It was either a body out in space, which we believe, you know, there might have been, some scientists say, well, it's a possibility that there was like a bunch of rogue asteroids, and of course they came in from this direction, hit Mars first and then Earth. They believe that might have been an issue. That might have happened. But being that they found evidence of 2 nuclear explosions with the xenon-29 and some other chemicals and stuff like that, they're saying that that's probably what decimated the planet. And of course, now they're going, you know, of course, you know how NASA is doing, backstep and everything else. And, oh, no, we don't believe that's the case. But yet, the rover found evidence of it, and so did, I think it was the Maven spacecraft, where it went into the low orbit of Mars, and it literally could detect this. So it is in fact there. So there is, you know, still some radiation, or the effects of these explosions, right? So right off the bat, that's what people believe. And that's a very good possibility from what we're seeing in the photos. It looks like stuff's been thrown around and been thrashed around and completely obliterated in some spots. So And some things don't look that bad at all. So, I don't know. All we can do is go by what we see in these photos and, well, and make the best of it. And of course, you can only speculate into a lot of these because we can't, like I said many times before, we can't just go there and pick it up and, oh, let me check this out. So, yeah. What's going on there, Tim Houston? Good to see you in there. Mr. John Ward's in there. What's going on? He said, good morning, everyone. What's going on, John? Good to see you in there. Hope you're doing well. Staying low down there. Yeah, I noticed that too. Larry Cameron, you said, hey, Chris, your brim of your hat disappears. Video artifact. When you look to the right, might freak out some of the stoners out there. No, what it is the, it's basically, let me see here. It's a green screen effect. Yeah, I can see it here on the screen there. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's got that effect and it'll do that. See, if I turn normal like this, as soon as I do this, it starts to mess with it. If I reach over towards this monitor here. Yeah, I noticed that too. Kyle Harvey, you said the video, the blue, I'm sorry, the Pluto video was very shocking. Yeah, it has a lot of interesting shapes on there, and if they're not structures, like I said, I always say that about Mars, you know, if this is not artifacts, meaning structures, mechanical parts, then Mother Nature is just awesome. I mean, it's actually fantastic. And it just knows how to just build these perfectly good 90-degree corners and these straight lines that run parallel with each other, and you know they're horizontal and they're doing the same thing, echoing the same corners, and it's just wow, you know. And I think we all know better than that, right? Your Highness, you said I can get past the Pluto is. I can't get past. I'm sorry. That Pluto is too far away. Not enough sunlight for any good pictures. I think they're fake. Well, keep in mind they could take them in different light sources, different light spectrums if they need to as well, right? And here's the thing too: the sun is pretty darn large. You know, when you look at the scaling size from the Earth, it's like the sun's like this big, and you got the Earth is like this big. So you can bet it's kind of, well, here's a good example. How many times you hear people say, well, you know, Mars is so much further than Earth, so therefore the sun's going to look like this, it's going to look like a little pea in the sky. And yet you can look at some of these photos, it's pretty large in the sky. It's not, I mean, it's not as small as you would think it would be. It's actually pretty large in some photos. And of course, some of the light, meaning the sun, I think is actually, it's false. But I think the sun is pretty close to the size we see here on Earth, maybe a little bit smaller. You know, we're just automatically assuming that, oh, it's going to be like a little pin, like on, no, that's not true. And keep in mind, there is a quote-unquote no atmosphere on Mars, so you can let in as much light as possible now. There's nothing to, you know, filter it out, you know, things like that. So, I don't know. Alien Tenno, what's happening? Good to see you there, man. Whitebeard Sky Daddy, what's happening? He said, hello, good people. What's going on there, Whitebeard? Good to see you in there. Josh D said, Chris, did you have time to see Jean Ward, his last video hours ago? Absolutely. I don't know about hours ago, but I've seen the last one he had done. And again, we keep seeing these stones, these pretty large. It could be like 3 meters, 6 meters, whatever, how big these things are. And it's always this large rock with another rock, almost right there, smack dab in the middle. It's kind of like it's like they built like stone roofs and like stone chimneys of some sort. It's just weird. What are the chances of having that on every rock? Like they can be in a cluster, and yet they all have something small in the middle of them. I don't think that's natural. Rock hits, what's happening? Ricardo Pedrazi says if you want to understand how planets so far away from the sun output more energy than they appear to receive, you need to understand the process of indirect forcing via the global electric circuit. Well, like I said, I mean, we're going by our Earth here where we have, an atmosphere that filters out a lot of that. And it may actually make the sun look a lot smaller. But I promise you, if you go out into outer orbit, out of the atmosphere of Earth, I promise you it's a whole lot bigger than it is. And I'm sure it's a lot brighter as well. Alien Tenor said, unseasonably warm weather here in the UK. It's not global warming. Well, it might be just something, it happens, Mother Nature will do that. It's kind of like getting what they call an Indian summer here, where you could be in the middle of the winter and all of a sudden it's like a 60-degree day, 60 degree Fahrenheit. And it's like, what? But you can get that. You can get like a 2 or 3 day span of that. And then, of course, right off the deep end, right? Oops. Mimi reacts. Your question was, Chris, do you think it could be possible to disguise structures, houses as ruins, so for the outsider it looks like the planet is abandoned? That's a very good possibility. Or let's say they are. They are actually just dilapidated and, stuff like that. It doesn't mean every one of them are, right? It's kind of like you go to some of these small countries or islands where they get hit with a large hurricane or storm, and even if the structures have been knocked over, they could still put them together in a kind of a just throw together kind of thing, so they still have a shelter, right? So it's possible it could be doing something similar to that, right? Linda Borum, what's going on? Good to see you there. Scott from Oz. Hi from Australia. What's going on, Scott? Robert Morgan, he said, Gufan said that they were just rocks. So what do you do? Look at the photo that we had shown in that? Jonathan Waddell, what's going on? Did anyone see the lunar eclipse this month? I didn't. It was way too early my time. I think it was like between, 3 and 4 o'clock a.m.? I was counting sheep at that time. And it kind of sucks because I wish I would have seen it. Some people did actually catch it, though, which is pretty cool. It looked more like looked like Mars, to be truthful. Jay McGuffey said those launch towers or skyscrapers rather on the moon are humongous. Yeah, they look. Some of these things. Wait until I got another part to that, and I'm going to tell you right now. When you see the way these things are aligned, 1, 2, 3, 4, shadow, 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 all in a row, and they're all rectangular, sharp rectangular shadows behind them. Is that possible? Nature can do that. And of course, I got a couple of these, condescending comments I got coming in there every now and then on this in the comment section. They're like, "Hey man, you know that the sun could, depending on the sun's angle, the shadows could be, longer or shorter." No, really? I discovered that when I was in the 4th grade. Thanks for telling me anyway. Of course, I don't even care about the shadows, but I'm talking about the shapes of the shadows. That's how much longer or shorter they are. Although I did mention that, but it was more about the shape of them, because you can see something looks like kind of like flat on the ground, and it's kind of like a little white and really brightened up, and then you see this kind of going up like this, and it has like a jagged piece, and then it's just completely 90-degree corners. That's not just a random round lunar boulder. It just doesn't work that way. The shadows tell all, right? Even if they're trying to hide it, which one guy was going back and forth with. He said, "Oh no, you got to understand planetary geology." I'm pretty much savvy in that. What was he saying? He was basically saying that there's nothing but rocks, and have a closer look. Don't believe what I'm saying. Have a closer look. And like I said, the other part I'm going to do to this literally shows these things. There's an area where it shows them doing this, like an arch formation. All of these things in an arch shape. And then you got the 4 in a row. I mean, what are the chances of Mother Nature doing this? And these things are they're all grouped together too. It's not just one here, one here, one here. There's literally hundreds of them, it looks like, in one area. So, and of course, I always tell you guys, you know, of course, you tell me what you think, right? Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, I promise that certain of those large rocks are actually big chunks of machinery. Yeah, when you see some of them things, like I showed those rolling rocks, literally, I mean, the shapes of these giant rocks that are just, there's no way these things could roll. And of course, a lot of other people question too, okay, what about the other surrounding rocks? Why didn't they roll as well? Let's say there's a bunch of moonquakes. I get that. The moon does have quakes. Okay, it's vibrating, it's vibrating. Why won't the smaller rocks that may be more rounded, why aren't they rolling along too? You know, you can't just say, oh, well, those three just happen to be round boulders and they decided to just stroll down into the crater or a lower part of that land. Well, what about the other rocks that are right next to you? You can see where the trail goes. There's other rocks right there, but yet those are the only ones that rolled, right? Just simple common sense that some people have been coming on my channel and just not using at all. And I'm talking about like transients, people that come and go, right? And some people, you know, I don't blame anybody for being 50-50 on the fence. Because we have these, what do they call them? Like crawling rocks here on Earth, where there's ice under them, and then of course the ice disappears. You got like a permafrost. And so, but I still don't understand, if the rock is on the ground, how can the frost go under it? Now I understand liquid, I get that, but okay, but it's not gonna, if it's on a flat ground, it's not gonna just slide and start sliding. But according to science here on Earth, they do that. And I don't have a problem with that. But again, when these things are on a slope and they're literally tumbling from one end to another, why aren't the other rocks around them doing the same? And some of these things are huge. Like the really big one, it looked like it was more of like a rectangle than it was roundish. Of course, there's not a whole lot of great detail there either, right? So it is kind of hard to tell. Oops, thing dropped on me again. Gotta love it. Long Island, New York, what's going on? He said, what's up, Chris? Not much, man. I hope you're doing good. Ricardo, he said, it's a shame we can no longer see if the thumbs down folk have visited or not. F6, YouTube, what's up with that? Oh, yeah, I mean, you'll get that. It happens. Jay McGuffey said, definitely spires or towers, missiles, who knows? Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't know if I'd go that far as to say, like, missiles, you know, tower missiles or anything of that sort. But we don't know that. We have no idea what these things are. And these things could be miles high for all we know. It's not like they have to deal with so much gravity, right? Rock Hits, he said, Pluto photo was fascinating. Corey, he said, I watched the moon set here in England last night through a telescope. Looked crazy different than usual for some reason. Well, again, it had that more of an orangey kind of color to it. At least some of the folks I've seen that they have their own, you know, telescopes actually showed too. So it's pretty cool. And it looked, like I said, it looked more like Mars than anything, right? Kyle said, it's almost a full moon here in Columbus, Ohio at night. Yeah, it is. Lately it has been, right? Mars, the second Genesis, he said, nature can make the odd 90-degree angle, but the sheer volume of non-fractal on Mars cannot be natural. Exactly. I don't care, like, you know, you can see 90-degree angle. Doesn't bother me in the least bit. It is natural. But when you see a bunch of, let's say there's 90-degree angle, a couple circles on top of it, and then right next to it, there's other different squares or opening, a rectangular opening. Come on. Come on. It's like one, maybe even two, a couple 90-degree angles. You can deal with that, you know, because you'll have like this layered rock and stuff like that. Yeah, that makes sense. But when you start seeing these other circles and right on top of that particular thing, or, you know, what are the chances of that, Mother Nature doing that? Kyle, he said, how they move rocks is through different sound frequencies. Yeah, but we're going by what we seen on that last moon video, or in that photo where we actually seen these things rolling. Like I said, I questioned, why didn't the other rocks around it roll with them? You know, now, somebody had speculated, and I'm speculating as too, I am as well, are these actually some kind of weird machine the way they travel? I don't know. Again, if a couple rocks right there in that area are going to start to roll down a hill, why don't the rest of them do it? I don't know. But the way I see it, I don't think they are. And let's say for argument's sake they are. Okay. I don't have an argument with that. But when I look at the rest of those things, no way. Some of them shadows, it's, like I said, the rock looks kind of weird, like a roundish. Yet you look at the shadow, it's completely like a tower with perfect 90-degree corners. And like I said, the next one coming up, I'm going to show you guys that. Is it natural? I don't think so. What's going on there, Lee Herring? Good to see you there. He said, hope everyone is good. Finally got done work in time to hop on. Need to get up to speed. I hear you there, Lee. Good to see you there, man. Nice thing to jump at me. I just seen a whole bunch of people. Juxtabilly's in there. What's going on, Juxtabilly? He said it was a total blood moon here in New Zealand. Sweet. There you go, Kyle. He said, I just jumped out of the chat and gave a thumbs up. There you go. Anybody see it? Go ahead and hit it, man. Boom. Thumbs up. Any support is good support for the channel, guys. It helps get this stuff out. And it helps the channel. Jay McGuffey said, wacky races unfolding to be first flag in the ground. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that didn't come on yet. Okay. Long Island said, hopefully the stream will still be going when I'm off work at 8 p.m. It depends. Claire Mead just said, hi, everyone. Forgot my phone was on mute, so a bit late. Oh, that ain't good, is it? Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, I bought a nice set of eye lenses at your recommendation, Chris. That's why I found those big pieces of machinery. Yeah, I mean, it's good to have even, I don't care if it's just regular mag glass with the little smaller one there, or those eyepieces. Man, this thing's dusty as hell because I used a bigger one now. But these jeweler eyepieces type things, you can get these, I think they're 3, 5, and 10 magnification. And I think you get them for like $5 or $6 on eBay. This one here is the 5 times. And you can literally just put it over the screen like a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, as long as you don't obviously slam your screen with it. This is the 10 times, but you can literally look at it, and my God, these things come to life. And you don't want to really zoom into a photo because you see how they break apart, especially these moon photos. They just go to trash, and yeah, I can't stand that. So I try to tell everybody, don't zoom in as much, use a magnifier. It's so much easier, and you don't really just, if you don't get too close to it, you don't make this, you're not seeing the actual fabric of the screen, you're seeing the actual object in question, right? So that's what you got to do. Oh yeah, yeah, Kyle. That's what they think they had done in Egypt, right? To move these large stones, right? He said you find the vibration of the rock, and that's how it is moved. Yeah, I mean you can literally move it into place where you need it to. There's a lot of, experiments have been done like that in a lab, where they have they just turn up to certain vibration to get things to levitate and everything else. I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this. Rajman. I'm not sure again if I'm pronouncing it right. He said, what are your best evidence for an ancient Mars civilization? Oh, gee, I don't know where to begin. Funny enough, in fact, we shared this on a couple of the, what was it, guys? The last couple live feeds where it looked like these weird vehicles or something similar to what we have here on Earth coming down a slope like it's being washed down into a crater. It was an old Opportunity photo, and some crazy things in there. But we see things like mechanical parts, what look like structures up on the side of a hill. There's so much of it. Just feel free to look at some of the videos we had done, both the moon as well as Mars. And if you can uncover the manipulation they're laying over these photos, you can see what's really there. Or at least get a little tidbit of it anyway, because you're not going to ever bring out all of it. But bringing out the lines and bringing back the object, and you can see some things in there just not natural. John Shabby said, my thumbs up says 4. No, I got 94 on mine. Go ahead and hit it, guys. Wham! Let me see here. Whoops. I don't think I have, Ricardo. You said your question was, Chris, have you ever been to Bryce Mountain Bike Park in your state, isn't it? I'm hoping to visit there next spring. I believe that it is. I can't say for certain, but I believe that it is. And some of them things are just absolutely awesome, man. Just go and ride. Gotta love it. I can go over here to a park. It's not more than a couple miles up the road, and you can literally go up this mountain and just walk along the whole mountain ranges. It's really awesome. People are like, oh man, you don't know anything about rocks. Okay, I live in a mountain state, but yeah, all right. David, Yeoman, you in Columbus, Chris? No, I'm over here in West Virginia, the tri-state area. Right there in Kentucky and Ohio. Robert Morgan, just remember to smash that like button. Guess that is recovered from last week's beating. Oh, that's not good. Cameron, you said, hey, Chris, I love your streams and videos that you put out, and don't listen to the haters, Chris. Keep up the good work. Oh, yeah, I don't. At one point when I very first started this, yeah, I'd go, oh, you know. But now you'll notice that a couple of these people have gotten into it with them because, like I said, it's these condescending comments like they're like the book of knowledge, and you're absolutely, doesn't matter, any one of us could be brain dead. We don't have a clue what we're talking about. But what they don't realize is that prior, and a lot of you do because I've told you the story, but a lot of them people don't realize I've started examining these photos long before I started doing videos. So it's not like it's my first rodeo, so to speak. I've been analyzing these photos for quite a long time. Oop, where'd it go? I'll just, man, this thing just jumped a crap load. Let me see if I can find it. I was just starting to read yours, Mars the Second Genesis. You said, your latest Mars video was incredible. I downloaded the image and enhanced it, and the whole area is structured, especially at the bottom. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that, because I thought about doing a second part to that. Is that wild or what? Again, they make it look like there's just cracks and crevices on the surface, and then they put this like whiteness over there, get rid of all the shadowing, get rid of all of the shapes or darker areas. Again, if you were to take, let's say, a black and white photo of, it could be an air base, an Air Force base, or any base around the world, and you're such a distance away, you try to blend it with the mountains that are near it. You take away all of the darker areas, so you're taking away the actual outline of these pieces. You're taking away the shadows of said pieces, whether it be structures, vehicles, whatever. You take all of that out and just put like this the overlay over it, and you're none the wiser until you start using the burn tool a little bit. Suddenly, you can start to bring those back very lightly. You don't go crazy because you'll just burn the photo and it ain't gonna be worth the darn. But if you start bringing this out really carefully, and even you, the way you do your work is really awesome to bring this stuff out. And of course, you can go crazy with it. You know that as well, because even the way you do yours, it's very easy to overdo this. So you go, I want to enhance it, but I don't want to destroy the photo. So there's a happy medium and a fine line to walk on. Phil C., thank you very much, sir, for your support. I do appreciate you, brother. So, hey, Chris, as a content creator, is there any way you could contact YouTube and tell them to allow Super Chat contributors to allow more than 255 characters? I know, I've seen that too. It's like you can only add so much to it. I often need to explain myself and need more text to do so. Yeah, that's true. That sucks. I thought that too, because one time, like many times, I'll be on like a live feed or something like that. I'm just like on the channels I like, I'll be like, oh, you're like, oh my God. So it's kind of like you got to like think about what you want to say and reword it so that you can get it to fit into the 255 characters. And that sucks. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if that's a thing where they can actually make them longer. I don't know. Might be some kind of weird default thing that they have. It's something I need to check into, though. You're right. Again, Phil, I do appreciate you, man. You guys are awesome. Just the support is just awesome. Daniel Lee, what's happening? He said, hi, good evening all. Hi, Chris. Good evening. Hope you are all good. Danny, UK, Liverpool. I hear you, Danny. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing good over there in Liverpool. Templar, what's going on? Who here believes trees are responsible for the most air on Earth? I've been told this so many times growing up, yet only recently found out it's actually plankton. Well, I mean, it's that, and plus you've got oceans that give off oxygen. You've got trees that give off oxygen. Of course, they take in carbon. Like you said, plankton. There's many things that give off that, right? So, yeah, it's a lot of organics. But then you got the oceans again, you know, giving off oxygen as well. Lionheart Glassworks, what's going on? So, Chris, appreciate for doing this for us every week. Thank you. Well, I mean, I like being here too. I mean, it's just awesome to be able to get together with you guys and have conversations about things we might have, you know, since last Hangout. Maybe there's something new you guys figured out and I haven't seen, or vice versa. So it's kind of good to be able to do that, right? Christopher Arnold, what's going on? Pelagic 6 is, dude, I'm from Cincinnati. Ha ha ha. Hey, what's going on over there in Cincy? Is it all right? You guys getting a little chilly over there too? And this thing did jump. Holy crap. Cameron, you said have a good Scream too. Chris, got to eat dinner with the family. See you when you post next. Have a good Friday, Chris, and a good weekend. You do the same, Cameron. Have yourself a good meal. Just don't talk about it. I'll get hungry. But yeah, have a good weekend and be safe, you and the family, right? There you go, Pete. That works. Pete Ferrero says, I use a 30 times magnifier for really small items made for stamps. There you go. There you go. I used to have one. It was a... trying to remember what the magnification was. It might have been similar to what you've got, only it's the ones you can put like on. It's got little alligator clips, and you can. It's like a really good size one, and it's good for like soldering and stuff like that. And looking at when I used to work on CBs and ham radios, you can see the SMCs on there, right? Which is basically surface mount components. And so, I mean, you really need it. For the old radios, not so much because they're literally full-size components, capacitors, resistors, diodes, and all that junk. So. You know, but those are really, really come in hand. William Hayes, he said, I have wonderful images of Pluto and saw the atmosphere as well. Yeah, I mean, you can see that it actually has it. It actually has a little bit of an atmosphere, right? Although they claim that it does not. Yeah, but they also claim that Mars isn't a red. They also claim that it's not a blue sky on Mars as well. But they've made a couple of screw ups. We know better. Jay McGuffey said, "Polar shift fast approaching." Yeah, people are saying that. They're saying that it's coming. Now, whether it is or not, not sure. But we're actually due for one. Ricardo Petrozzi. Weed. Martian weed is red and is the war of the worlds. Actually, that was kind of like veins and blood, wasn't it? But I don't think you want to be smoking that. That wouldn't be good. Whitebeard Sky Daddy says, we have many images of large cigar-shaped vessels, craft, all through our solar system, or this solar system. You mentioned Pluto, also Saturn in the rings. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Kyle, he said, as a matter of fact, in all the Mars anomalies videos, 90% of the objects are not natural. Yeah, I mean, like, some of them are debatable, right? Of course. Because we're trying to, even me, I try to make heads or tails of it, and I even say that. Guys, to me, this is 50-50 thing. Because you don't get enough detail. Even some of the things we did on the last moon, you're like, that could be passed off as a simple rock. I get that. Now, one of the people were arguing with me saying, oh, no, that's just regolith, and, you know, it's not any kind of manipulation done with Photoshop. Okay. And I asked him, I said, when's the last time you've seen transparent dirt or regolith? Because I have never seen it. Not here on Earth. And I don't know if any planet's going to have transparency as far as looking through dirt. Because you can literally see those objects, and you can see through this quote-unquote regolith, you can still see the white part. And once you burn that away, it's like a full rectangle. So you tell me. Clearly that's not natural. And they are hiding it. Now, I don't blame anybody for giving me their opinion about it, but what I don't like is a condescending attitude. And you'll see, like I said, some of these things I'll be jumping people's asses for it. I don't mind people having a debate, perfectly open with that. What I have a problem with it is name calling, talking down to you, all kinds of trash like that. I won't do that. I'll just get rid of it. Like I was blamed for getting rid of comments. I go, I don't get rid of comments if they're clean and they're not talking down like, you know, like they're talking to some 12-year-old. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I treat everybody with respect, and I'll do the same. I'll reciprocate. But as soon as you start talking like that, I just go, yeah, I will get rid of your comment because nobody needs to see that garbage if you're name calling and all this stuff like that, right? Yeah, that I won't do. Because there are a lot of people out there, even younger folks that may be reading these, they don't need to be seeing that garbage. I don't care that people disagree with me. That's going to happen. It's out in the open for people to do that. But sometimes they're just trolling, you know what I mean? Ricardo, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support, as always. It says, since James Cragen is not here yet, my shout out this week for the cloth for the CGI boys. There you go. Appreciate you. Yeah, you know how these, yeah. It's kind of like I said, it's almost like they're slipping purposely, right? It's like, okay, we're going to computer generate and get this rid of this, and we'll just leave that piece in there. How many times have you guys thought about that going, why is it that they're covering up this whole area, but yet this thing stands out? How many times have we seen that? I see it over and over again. And I question this myself. Why do that unless you were doing that purposely? Yeah. Josh D said, we have a difference of opinion. No problem. All the same opinions give a standstill. But be nice about it. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I don't care that people disagree. This is the reason why I want your input at the end of the video. But sometimes you get, like I said, these transients that come along and go, yeah, this guy's full of crap, and starts going off. And it's like, but you know nothing about the research that I've done. So why come in here and talk stupid? You know, it's one thing, you know, people like say, hey, I don't agree with you, you know, what you're seeing here. I think this is just normal. And I'll even thumbs up it because this is what they're seeing. But when they go, hey, you don't have a clue what you're talking about, blah, 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 and they go on and on. No, I'm not standing for that crap. And I've seen people attack, and I've gotten rid of several of them lately on you folks' comments. Like, they'll go like this, hey, you're smoking, you know, whatever. What are you smoking or whatever? Nope, off. Nope, off. No, they're not going to start attacking people on my channel. That's one thing I never stood for. Yeah, Kyle, you're right. Trolling is ridiculous. Of course it is. But they'll do it every time. Spooner FPV said, your question was, why do you think Elon Musk has never talked about the Black Knight and go capture this thing? Well, we don't know that they have or haven't yet. You know what I mean? They're going to keep that kind of hush, right? They're going to keep it on the down low. So my thinking is this. If you remember not long ago, you had Elon scoffing at the idea of these UFOs that the Pentagon keeps showing. Now suddenly he's saying, I believe that there was life on other planets, maybe dead a long time ago, whatever he was saying, the way he was describing it. So now there's this flip and this sudden turnaround in attitude, what he was talking about. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, but it's like I said, 1 week it's completely, I don't believe in all that crap. Then I believe there's civilizations out there in all of these planets. It could very well be a lot of civilizations. Total flip around. I think at some point, and I was just thinking about this today, and I think I've mentioned this before, is that you can guarantee that these higher ups, these people that are doing like, they're watching all these, like galactic space, all these people like SpaceX and all these, Virgin Galactic, like I said, they know that these people at some point are going to start having these like little cruises. You can go up in space, be there for about 6 to 10 minutes and come back down. At some point, now they may say, I don't want you bringing cameras here or anything, but people are going to start talking. While I was up there and I seen this incredible spacecraft, more and more people are going to be saying, I've seen this and I've seen that. Now, whether they can take a picture of it, I don't know. But they may say, no, you're not allowed to do that. Okay. But they're probably saying, listen, at some point, this stuff's going to leak out. We're going to become spacefaring. We better kind of let this out of the bag a little sooner. And that may be what's going on. Kenneth, he said the hottest rock on Earth is a closed mind. You're right about that. Yeah, there's a friend of mine that showed me that what's up in our skies, GE, in space. He said in Pluto's atmosphere you can find cigar-shaped objects. And if I'm not mistaken, they're way off in the distance. You can just see them above the surface, right? Is that the one you were talking about? I think I actually seen that. There was a guy that had done it with the telescope or something like that, or just reviewed the photos and seen that. Here's a picture you have shown lately. Exactly, exactly. Oh, I know. Mars a second. Genesis. My pet hate is the perverts that post porn links on your channel. I always report them. Oh, yeah, I just get rid of them. Just block them. You'll get them every now and then. Goatheart, what's going on? He said, right said, Chris. Yeah, I mean, it's like you're starting to see this really ramp up. I notice you guys have seen this yourselves. Just because of what's going on with the Pentagon, now it's like blown up as far as, UFO sightings and everything else. But maybe people feel a lot more comfortable now because if our government's giving up this information, then they go, oh, I won't look like such a putz. Or I won't look like, I'm the tinfoil hat, whatever the heck they call them, that I've said I've seen a UFO. They won't be ridiculed like that, right? Yeah. Jerry Lahane says Mars has enough of a heavy atmosphere to lift a helicopter or a copter. Same as thick as heavy enough for the U.S. to breathe like Mars people and animals. Well, I believe it is too. Now, you remember they just got through saying because now it's it's going into like a fall winter kind of season, just like we are here, at least in the United States, that now, of course, air becomes more dense, right? So now they had to actually spin up these rotors a little faster to get this thing to get some lift. But there's enough air to do it, man. It's crazy. And they're just like, there's not enough oxygen. I believe this. If you're close to the ground, you can breathe. Now, it may be up to like X amount of thousands of feet over, above sea level, like here on Earth, but you can still breathe. Jay McGuffey, you said, wonder if they left seismographs, cameras, and sensors on the moon and the many rovers we didn't get to hear about. Yeah, I mean, those are still there. The seismometers are there, the cameras. I'm not sure about the cameras so much. Of course, they might have done like a live feed with one of those too, We don't know that. It's never been said. But if they put it there, got a solar panel, it charges up the battery, it runs it, transmits it back to Earth. It's not like you need a super powerful transmitter to do that. And of course, the lunar buggy was still there. Let me see. And as far as the rovers, I don't know about that. I mean, the many rovers we didn't get to hear about. Yeah, I mean, there are the lunar rovers that they have sent up there, right? So there are those up there. The seismographs are still up there. They left that mirror up there as well, so they can, beam a laser off there and then get the laser back. But of course, it's only in light particles. It's not like boom, and then a complete beam coming back. But they get just enough back to actually register This is how they know that the moon is actually leaving and going, that's like a half an inch to an inch each year. It's literally moving away from the Earth. This is how they know that. So, which is very interesting. But yeah, the stuff's still there. Great for all. He said the younger generation needs to get in on this. They will have to take our place once we pass on. Absolutely. And this is one of the other main reasons why I do this channel too, is because I know other people are picking up on it that are probably younger than me, I'm sure. And the thing is, it's like, at some point, everybody who's doing this is going to disappear. So you hope that the information lives on. Now, people can dog, let's say I wasn't here anymore, and people could dog everything on the channel, but then when it starts to come out later on in the years, they're going to go, remember that guy we were dogging way back in the day? Oh my God. You know what I mean? No matter who it is, it's not just me. Could be any channel doing this kind of work. And then they find this out and they go, wow, this guy wasn't full of it after all. How many times do they, you know, when they knock Richard Hoagland and J.P. Skipper and, oh, this guy's whacked. And all of a sudden now we're finding more and more proof of that. Lakes, what look like trees and all this other stuff. So is it fake? You tell me, you know. This thing jumped on me again. Lionheart Glassworks, you said it's a slow leak and there are occasional mistakes made by the computer program that censors. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is being overlaid now because there's so many photos coming back. It's probably just being done by AI through the computers. And it doesn't quite cover everything, which is good on our part because we get to see the stuff and try to break through some of that junk and try to bring some of it out. And we have done many of those. And it's just stuff you go, okay, I didn't expect to see it on a really cold or frozen barren planet, right? Dead planet. And even if it is totally dead now, it wouldn't matter. The stuff's still there. So at one point, there was a thriving civilization there. Marco Besta, he says, hi, Chris from South Africa. I sent you some amazing HD stuff on intelligent moon structures, including a Park disk-shaped UFO and what appears to look like two aliens standing there. Please look into it. You sent it to what? The Mars Anomalies at AOL? I'll have a look at it. Carmine Gangami, is it the picture of the crab on the Mars taken by the Curiosity in 2015 is really hard to ignore. Can't believe that more pictures of it weren't taken. I mean, I'm 50-50 on that, Carmine. I've actually enhanced that area myself, and it didn't look like anything like that Martian crab. I think somebody enhanced it and just said, leave it alone right there. It looks like something. I can get hits on it. I've enhanced it. I didn't see anything like that. However, it wasn't so much a Martian crab as it was what looked like cabling and some kind of artificial thing that doesn't belong in the rocks. That's what I saw. Now, either way, you can't vet it, right? All you can say is, okay, that is anomalous. This is what we're here for. We see anomalies, and we want to expose it and bring it out. But when I seen that, I was like, really? Let me get a hold of that picture. Let me have a look at it myself. It didn't look anything like that. But it did have this unusual shapes to it in those rocks that did not look like it was natural. So either way you look at it, it's still anomalous, right? Scott from Oz, you said, my profile pic is the only UFO I have ever seen and got a pic of. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I seen one back in the 80s myself, man. It's pretty cool. And you just can't, you're trying to understand, is that what I think it is? Because even back in the 80s, it wasn't as blown up as it is now, right? Although it was, still had sightings, still had all of that crap, had what looked like abductions going on and all that other stuff. So it wasn't anything new, but it's just a lot more of it now. And everybody's starting to come, it's starting to come more to light, you know? Guy Harvey, you said just take all of those pieces together, crop circles, police officers that have witnessed UFOs, the Phoenix Lights rather. All the evidence is overwhelming. Yeah, just put it all together. Now, the problem is you got to determine whether some of those are ours and some of them are not. And there's a lot of them, like the Phoenix Lights, like you talk about. They were like in this giant V formation, and some of them just go out, and some of them just appear on the other side. Oh, it's just weird. It makes you wonder. Tim Houston, you said Townsend Brown, who started NICAP, said to his daughter, separate the reports of the ones that wobble. Oh, except the ones that, okay, they're ours. Yeah, I mean, to me, I look at that and I say, you know what? I think we have a thing, we have both going on. It's ours and from out there. Andrew Munchko, what's going on? He said the sun on Mars is way too small to use solar. That's what we think. Remember? That's why they're saying it's very cold on there. But yet, you get these mixed signals, because I've read and I've seen this myself where you can get up to, in the summertime, in the equatorial region where they're at, it can get up to like 80 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So sometimes it's the average around 65, 70. I don't know about you, but I can walk around in that kind of temperature, no problem whatsoever. And if you're close to the ground, you're going to get oxygen enough to breathe. And let's say you don't. Let's say you need a breathing apparatus. Okay, you can still, as a human being, live on that planet. However, now when it gets cold, if there is very little atmosphere, it's going to drop off like a rock as far as temperature-wise. You hide underground, where it's a constant temperature. Not a big deal, you know. It's really not complicated, you know, but they make it sound like, oh, it's so harsh. It's 250 degrees below. And let's say it is. Okay, I can hide from that. Kyle, you said, plus it is 100% impossible. 100% impossible for us to be alone in the universe. Oh yeah, I don't believe that for a moment. Not for a moment. There's so much more going on, and they're just letting it out of the bag just a little bit here and there. I think that what they're afraid of is, like I said, something's going to happen where you're going to see this full-blown actual UFO show up one day, or something's going to happen, and, you know, it's just going to be revealed to the world. And then, of course, we're going to be all pissed off at our governments. And rightfully so, right? Ricardo, you said, in 2008, I examined some of the Google Mars imagery and found what looked like a whale skeleton lying half buried on the surface. Could never locate it again. Yeah, well, maybe they made sure of that. What's going on at IR Film? Or I don't know if you say IR Film. I'm sure that's what you use. Hi, Chris. Just got back online after one hell of a storm. LOL. Good to be back. I hope all is good with you. Cheers. Well, I hope everything's good with you. If you got through that storm, that's good. Yeah, we've had a few of those doozies too. You guys remember that? The power went out here. Of course, like I said, I didn't have my modem hooked up at the time. Now, this is just a router here, but the modem in the router, I got another router in there, wireless. And everything's on battery backup. So the power can completely go out and I can still stay live as long as somebody didn't run over a pole outside and take the actual internet down. But I can still sit there and go back and forth. It's, you know, I can still stay on. That's the only reason why I was able to get right back on immediately. I didn't get shut down and have to come back on. It was just, it kind of like froze, I think. And then this, like I said, this was off by accident. When the power came back on, this came back on, it was live again almost instantly. So, yeah. Oh, let me see here. Does that work better that way? No. Must be the way the lighting is here. Things flipping out on me as far as the backdrop here. Yeah, so I hope you got through that storm good. I don't know what kind of storm it was, but yeah, when they hit hard, man, forget about it. Oops. Von Miller Express, number 58, says, I was in Phoenix that night and those lights were not military. We watched a V-shape thing from the Lake Pleasant. It was a UFO. Yeah, exactly. Well, was it a UFO or many that formed an actual, you know, they just got in formation? Because remember that some of them would just disappear. Some of them come back on over here. It's just weird. Like it would just disappear on this side and come on this side. Really, really wild looking video. I don't believe for a moment that that was military, unless it's something that's way out of this world that they built, right? But that one has got to be the most extraordinary I've seen. Kyle, he said, yes, he did not scramble jets because somebody called the police station and they were not flares in the... Exactly. Well, I mean, you know flares anyway, right? You can literally see them coming down very slowly. You'll like to see them get real, real bright and then they kind of dim out and then just dropping at the same time. So you know as well as I do that's crap. You know, now some of them are. They got them Chinese little candles and little things like that. And you know as well as I do, you can tell the difference. I got some UFOs I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Also, other news that we already pretty much know. And then of course, Avi Phobe, I think it's Loeb, I guess it is. I love it because he literally rips the people at SETI a new one. And you'll see what I mean. It's pretty interesting. Got some more cool stuff coming up too with my buddy Thomas Mikey Jensen, as well as Dolly Indigo Star. Got some cool stuff coming up. I might even have some other content because their site is going up where it's going to be like content that's exclusive. In other words, this won't be something you see here. Anything from like interviews we'll be doing. I may even have her on pretty soon. She does a lot of interviews with a lot of good people. Anything from UFOs to all, you know, anything to do with like Egypt, just crazy stuff. So more and more cool stuff coming up for you guys. You know, just great couple of people and just, you know, so stay tuned for that. You're going to like it. We're going to definitely be rolling this big time. Jean Ward says, I need to say goodnight to you all. It's rather late here, I'm sorry. All right, Jean, good seeing you, man. Keep up the good work. I don't know about a video today, but the last one I seen, really awesome. Yeah, really good video. Just keep up the good work, man. Tim Houston, you said, yes, Chris, there are too many reports of UFOs of this some secret Nazi base to be stamping them out like cocaine. Exactly, yeah. Yep, I don't believe that. Way too many. What's going on, Terry Kelly? You said life on Mars could exist in structures inside mountains, like in the film Total Recall, don't you think? Absolutely. I've said this more than once. You can see what looks like on these buttes or these scarps on Mars, and they look like this framework inside these. So two things are happening. Either they're making it look like an actual scarp or, you know, like a, you know, it could be anything, like a mountain, because I've seen that too, these buttes, or they actually were building into these things and it looked like something hit it, like a bomb or something like that, like wartime. And you can see what looks like framework and like a ripped open hole on this thing. So what's going on, right? Really, really interesting. Jean Ward says, see you in the next video. Going to take a look at the vehicle tracks on Mars in the next one. Jean Ward said, oh yeah, analyze those bad boys. Some of them are really fake. Because I've noticed when you look at some of the tracks that go way off in the distance, there's actually stuff right there in the way. There's no way that rover could have went over it. That's how they hide it too. So I've noticed there's some crazy things going on there. And by the way, Jean, if you're still there, the last one you had done, you were talking about, I don't remember the video now, where you had like a whole bunch of your finds. You're just kind of just saying, this is what I found, see the likeness of these and everything else. And there was one photo that I stopped on, and guess what? It's not just a structure. There's all kinds of structures around it. Maybe I'll get with you over the weekend unless you're going to be busy. And I'll show you the one I enhanced of your work. Absolutely fantastic what you found. And you can see other things around it, like other, like, almost look like landscaped areas. And it looks like little paths going to other little structures right next to each other. So it makes you wonder, did they build like the Flintstones for crying out loud? I mean, or did they put these stone like roofing over like regular buildings, right? Either way you look at it, crazy, crazy stuff. Daniel Webster, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. Eric Goa, you said burn tools, hide lots of stuff. It depends on how you use it. If you're using it to enhance the lines that are being hidden underneath this white area, you can bring that stuff out. You don't want to use it in a dark area to begin with, right? It's already dark. So the last thing you want to do is use a burn tool. So, unless of course you use the right amount of it because you don't want to go too crazy with it, right? Daniel Webster said, I got a book, The Death of Mars, which is a good book by John Brandenburg. I don't believe some of his theories. He believed that Mars had a early Bronze Age civilization. I believe they were much more alone. Yeah, exactly. I think they were, well, they might have things like we have. I mean, we have like things in antiquity. We've got like ancient structures, and then we have new technology. So is it possibly had both? Yeah, because I don't believe that either. I don't believe that it was just, I think they were technologically advanced. I don't know how much more than us. It might not even be more than us. It might have been, that planet died off where we are today. And this is the reason why we see a lot of similarities to the stuff we see here. Brian Norton, what's going on? He said, what's up, family? What's going on, Brian? Good to see you there, man. George Mayer, your question was, Chris, is the Earth moving closer to the sun, causing global warming? No. If you have any global warming, it's because of the sun cycle. The sun cycle is every 11 years, and we are on the uptick of that. So the planets, notice I use plural, the planets are warming. So it is, in fact, warming up, but not because of global warming. It's because every 11 years that the sun actually goes through more cycles, gets hotter, at least it seems, and there's more flares and everything else. So you'll get that. So that we're actually on the uptick. I forget what year we are in so far. Might be the 4th or 5th one. So again, we're working up towards the 11th year. And once that happens, then of course the sun will go quiet as it dies down, goes back in between the 11th year cycle. So when this happens, every planet in the solar system heats up. It's not just global warming. Now, I don't believe that's the main reason, but I believe we are contributing to with some pollution. Like I said many times before, if you got all this carbon in the air and it goes into the poles and everything, because it's in the atmosphere, right? And it comes down on the ice, and it has like a black or darker dust on it, so to speak, or it turns it black. What does black do? It absorbs sun and heat, so it accelerates the melting. I don't think that's the sole reason, no. Because if we are down in the lowest cycle part of the cycle, you wouldn't hear anything about this. So, but I'm sure we are contributing to it. We're just not the sole reason. Kyle Harvey says 132 views right now. Keep up the good work, guys. Oh yeah, you'll get them. They'll fluctuate in here. Jerry Lahane says SETI equals 0 results because aliens don't play primitive patty cake radio games. No, that's for sure. Let me get into this. This is pretty cool. Not that, but this. Now this is old news in a sense, although they just put it on in November 13, 2021. Now I don't know if they're doing a rehash thing here. I'm not sure what the deal is, but this is from International Business Times, and it says, when a NASA scientist found intriguing evidence of alien life on Mars, what happened next? Ooh, clickbait. Well, what it was that this gentleman named Gilbert Levin, the NASA scientist who believe alien life on Mars. And what it does is it gets into how the Viking lander, when it did its analysis on the soil, they believed he found alien life or microbial. And of course NASA says, oh, no. It was something that imitated life and that was not life. I'm going, okay, What could anybody here? Maybe I'm just ignorant to it, but anybody here can tell me what is an example of something imitating life? Because I'm trying to, and if that equates to Mars as well, right? Let me see. NASA was initially skeptical about Levin's finding. Another instrument on the probe, the Viking molecular analysis experiment, failed to detect any kind of organic matter in the barren Martian soil. NASA later concluded that it was something that mimicked life, but it was not life, and it had misled Levin. But Levin, until his death, strongly believed that his experiment in 1976 had found evidence of extraterrestrial life on the red planet. In 2019, he wrote over the 43 years since a Viking, none of the astronauts, okay, hold on, here we go. None of NASA's subsequent Mars landers had carried a life detection instrument to follow up on the exciting results. Levin also added that he had found worm-like alien creatures, and you can see that they had like a rock where you got microbial type thing like that on there, on Martian images captured by NASA's Curiosity rover. So, and here's another one here where it talks about same thing. NASA scientists certain of life on Mars after taking space images on planet's surface. And it's talking about a NASA scientist who supervised humanity's first two missions to land on Mars, spent the rest of his life convinced that what his missions had found had been explained by the presence of life on the planet. Now, of course, this one again is November 17, 2021. Now, and of course, this one here says updated. It says November 18th, 2021. So there you go. Yeah, so I mean, it basically says the same thing. I strongly believe what he found, or his analysis, was in fact, it was right, spot on. Carmine, you said it's hard to take SETI seriously. Every time they find something interesting, they conclude that it can't be aliens because the signal didn't repeat. Why are the non-repeating signals exclusively natural? Well, and then on the other side of the token, they do have signals that do it every other 30 minutes or every 3 days, but yet they don't make a big stink out of that, do they? Imagine that. So that's why I think it's a bunch of horseshit. You know, these guys know exactly what's going on. I can promise you that they've already gotten signals from other planets. You can bet out of all of that vastness of space and all of those planets, I promise you they've probably gotten a signal, because we've heard things down the pike where they say, well, you know, there was a signal from this planet, it was aimed over here in a general vicinity, and this is what we heard. It sounded like people said, oh, we did this to our own planet, blah, 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 help us. And then, of course, the signal faded in and out, and you didn't hear much more about it. For all we know, it was Mars when it was dying off. How the hell do we know? And I don't believe it was that long ago like they claim. Oh, it's had no life on it for millions of years. I don't know. How long have we been looking at Mars? Or at least the public has been looking at Mars? Yeah. But this is what it basically says. It's talking about the Viking space program. You know, the aim of the program, which was first from Earth to touch down on Mars, was to detect any gas or microorganism on the planet's surface using the testing method called labeled release, or LR. The Viking lander conducted experiments in 4 separate locations. They also took the first high-resolution pictures of its surface. I haven't seen a high-res yet, but anyway, some close, but not, you know. Writing at the time, Levin said on July 20. Wait, hold on, let me make this a little bigger so even you guys can read this. Writing at the time, Levin said, on July 30th, 1976, the LR, labeled release test, returned its initial results from Mars. Amazingly, they were positive. Much to his and everyone else's surprise, the results they produced were similar to those produced by LR tests of soils on Earth. But yet, oh no, something mimicking life, and it was not. Come on. Like, they just don't want to let it out. Let me get all the way to the bottom here. If anybody else has said anything or asked a question, just let me know. Because I am actually doing this at the same time, so I don't want to skip anybody out. Scientific search for extraterrestrials. He said Mars is full of wrecked cars, wrecked spaceships. I saw a spaceship full of sand in one of the Neville Thompson's gigapans. Now, Believe it or not, as silly as that sounds, I found things just like it. What look like structures that have been battered, what look like spacecraft, vehicles of some sort. And, you know, when I first brought that out years ago, people, this guy thinks his car's on Mars. And I've showed you the one, the two or three of them that were on that crater wall. They look like vehicles. So what the hell are they if they're not? Either way you look at it, let's suppose we're way off base and they're not vehicles at all. They're still not natural and they're on the Martian surface. They're not a rock, that's for sure. And it eerily look like what we have here on Earth. So that's what makes me believe way back in the day, who knows that we didn't, you know, when they had the first lander, they literally looked around and panned around, took photos and everything else, and it probably found maybe some kind of weird vehicles, and we basically copied what they had. Like they said, hey, that's a good idea for like a vehicle of some sort. So why don't we stop building them like that? Because why is it that we have this uncanny resemblance to what I saw in that picture to what we have here on Earth? It doesn't make any sense. Ricardo, you said, I think Mars was devastated less than 260,000 years ago. I think it's a lot earlier than that. I'm going 100 years tops. A lot earlier than that. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, because Ricardo, you're talking to Daniel. You said hard to know the thumbs down count now that that YouTube changing that no longer show dislike count. Are you guys not seeing that right now? Because I am. I got one. You know, our usual visitor. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Robert Morgan, you said, could have been repeating distress call. That could very well be. Mimi, you said they always pretend like they know nothing. Well, yeah, it's just mum's the word, that's all. That's all it comes down to. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but declassified Aussie military docs reveal weapons UFOs used on humans. This is actually pretty cool. Scientific intelligence general unidentified, I'll get it out, I promise, flying objects. And of course, it says retained permanently, class blah, 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 blah. A recently discovered declassified Australian report analyzes 1,000 UFO close encounters to understand the kinds of weapons being used against humans and their animals by these visitors, and if they are being used defensively or without provocation. These reports of UFO landing and near landings were, I says complied, I don't know if it's supposed to be compiled, but by the renowned ufologist and physicist Jacques Vallée, who worked with the late and honored Professor Hynek. Hynek acted as a scientific advisor to the UFO studies undertaken by the U.S. Air Force under two projects, Project Sign and Project Blue Book. Now, it says three weapon, we said whip it good. All right, weapon systems. After the thorough analysis of 1,000 UFO cases from around the world, the report found the existence of three weapons systems being used by these unidentified visitors. One, a device to interfere with electrical circuits. Two, a device to induce paralysis. And three, a heat ray. I don't know about the heat ray thing, but that sounds a little 1960s sci-fi, but all right. Visitors' use of weapons. A report, which is dated January 1970, sums up the use of weapons by the alleged extraterrestrials against humans and animals in the following manner. There is circumstantial evidence that these weapons are at times used deliberately, although mostly in a defensive role. A number of reports allege that a lone car at night has been followed, and after being stopped by the beam, some kind of interaction had developed between the car occupants and the landed craft occupants. Information is included which deals with residual effects on the environment of the landed craft. It is these residual effects which offer the greatest potential reward to scientific investigation at this stage. And of course it goes on, case, France, Italy, Venezuela, Argentina, and of course I'll give you the page for this, guys. You can check it out yourselves. But really, really crazy. Yeah. like I said, everybody's on the UFO kick now, and I don't blame them in a sense. It's like the hot topic. But I think we need to try to discover what is true and what is false, and what their true intentions are, right? Again, it's this hype about, they're going to kill us all. They're going to, they're flying in our airspace. I get the idea about they're flying in our airspace, but are they evil, and are they going to terminate the planet, basically? No. Not going to happen. They would have done it a long time ago, like I said. And the fact of the matter is they're literally flying around these air bases and some of these airports, and yet nothing's being done to these planes, or even the missiles are being basically decommissioned, but they're shutting them down, and yet nothing's being done to them. They're not saying, since we hate you humans so much, we'll just go ahead and blow up your own missiles and your own missile silos. You don't see any of that. You don't see any of that. At all. So, what does that tell you? Brian Norton, thank you very much, sir, for your support. I do appreciate it. You said, love you, Chris, and Mars family. Always here for the best interest of this channel. Oh, yeah, absolutely, brother. I appreciate you. Yeah, just the support is just awesome. You guys are just great. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, I've said this many times, the community is just awesome. It's, like I said, it's like-minded people where you can share this and talk about it. Especially when all this BS was going on with the COVID last year. It was a completely just madhouse, right? Man, it's still not over, but that's neither here nor there. But it's still, whether there was nothing going on at all, it's still good to be able to have like a family that's around the world, and you're literally talking about this. That's what makes it amazing. And I don't care if you're a woman or man, everybody's in on this. And I love the fact, I give any woman credit who's, really into this as well. I know that sounds borderline chauvinistic, but that's not what I mean by it at all. No disrespect to women. It's the idea. I love the idea that a lot of women get into this. In fact, it's like Sarah Lafayette, which I basically call my daughter. She was just awesome. You can see her right here. We're 24 years old, cut down from cancer. So, and she's the one that got me interested in doing the Antarctica. And she's the one who's been doing all the research, and Julia, of course, was helping her as well. They're colleagues, and of course, they're best of friends. And, so I'm just mentioning this now because it is our anniversary of her passing on the 24th of this month. So, another person just cut down, and it's sad because a lot of these people, whether they're old-timers or whatever, it's like, it's information that's lost now. They're very smart. I mean, this girl is like always working with anything that's got to do with modeling, whether it had to do with makeup stuff or whatever. And yet she was still like deep into this stuff. And that's what got me started in this. So, she's a great loss. It broke my heart to see this happen to her. In fact, this is the other photo of her, basically the same thing here. This is where Julia said, if you want to share these, you can do that. It was mostly this one, but same photo in the other one there. It's just awesome. Very pretty girl. And like I said, just brains like there's no tomorrow. And Julia is right there in her footsteps, which I think is great. And I remember she wrote this letter, and I think I read it to you guys. It says, Chris Maroney, what can I say? Of all the people that I have met online in my short tenure as a fashion style blogger, you were the only man who's never lost faith in my ability to rise to any of the and all occasions, and never let the mainstream affect my own good judgment and common sense. You are a good man, Christopher, and an honest man, and a decent family man, and you deserve more than any other investigative journalist. Yes, of course, I consider you one. I have come to know deserves. Nothing but respect and accolades on your work. Also, you are one funny guy. You make me laugh every time I watch you, and I think this little sprinkle of charm has endeared you to many celestial investigators on the YouTube. All the best to you, good friend. Keep reaching for those stars and don't stop drilling. You are about to strike oil. We can all feel it. Bonjour, Christopher. So, when she wrote that to me, I was like, so that's what I remember now about her. Just very smart, very beautiful, very talented. She was dabbling in all kinds of stuff. But she's the one that really got me started doing this Antarctica thing. This is the reason why at the very end of her life, she was trying to complete her thesis on Antarctica. And of course, Julie was very instrumental in helping her out with that. And anytime we communicated near the end, she would help her out and everything else. And so big kudos to Julia for doing that and helping her out and getting this information out, because people need to know this. And by the way, guys, I did say that I was going to be doing more Antarctica, but like I said, I had a lot of this stuff on the back burner, so I'm trying to get through this stuff quickly, and then I can go ahead and get these done as well. So if you're not a subscriber to this channel, go ahead and hit it up. Antarctica and its hidden secrets. Just check it out, because it's really, really good stuff, especially her thesis. Now, this one here, the actual full up-to-date thesis is 3 hours and 18 minutes long. So in other words, it's basically a scrolling book. And it's got some classical music in the background. You can shut it off, of course, and you can actually speed it up. So if you're going, I'm kind of a fast reader, right? You can get in there and just change the speed of the video, speed it up, and then read it along. Really, really cool. A lot of work done here. She's had a lot of good friends and scientists and geologists and stuff like that that, believe it or not, actually work with NASA as well. Now, a lot of these photos, she found this out that they were literally messing with these photos as well. And when I showed her, because she gave me a photo and I looked at this, I said, can you believe the amount of, the manipulation going on here? And I showed her the mountainside and where it shows this fine line. Unbelievable. And she's found so many things. And like Julia's kind of like jumped in and took the reins on this. And we believe that just, keeping up her work is the most thing I can do. It's the best thing I wanted to do anyway. I told her, I said, listen, as long as I'm alive, your work will live on. And that's what we set out to do. And with Julia's help, we've decided to do this. So like I said, I brought this up because, you can see it right here. Sarah Lafreniere, well, I call it Lafreniere here in the United States, but being, it's actually got a nicer ring. But you can see right here, May 15th, that was her birthday. And of course, November 24th in 2020, she passed on. And of course, gone, but not forgotten. And, I always remember her. In fact, I got that same picture of her. She sent it to me, that same one, in a frame. I got all my pictures up on the wall there. So, yeah, she's definitely missed, because I hate to see anybody who's doing this kind of work and just, and besides, 24 years old, come on, expect that to happen near the end of your life, you know what I mean? Things happen, your body starts breaking down, you expect all these kind of ailments, and then all of a sudden, just like that. So, yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, scientific search for extraterrestrials. You said, wow, how sad, such a young person dying of cancer. Yeah, when I first heard it, it broke my heart. Because she got the same thing. She went through the same thing as my uncle did. My uncle and I were close. We used to work together and stuff like that. Just a great man. He would literally put on shows for like handicapped and challenged kids, like all over the state of New Hampshire. He put on all kinds of shows and everything else, and arrange all of this and everything else. If you met him, love him instantly. He's just a good guy. And Sarah was the same way. And when you talk to her, she's like, very, very smart girl. And but then, we talked personally. She would say, yeah, I'm having some issues right now. I'm not in the best of mood and everything else. She'd tell me what's going on. And she'd open up to me and like, not really bad, anything bad, of course. But, sometimes just advice she needed. I said, listen, I'll tell you what I tell my kids. I got 3 of them. I got 2 girls and 1 boy. And this is what I'd tell her. Then she started calling me dad. I was like, okay. Which I gladly accepted, and it's like, when all of this took place, because I'd known her for 2 or 3 years prior to this, and when this took place, it just broke my heart. So, but like I said, her work will live on. Like I said, it's all right here, so it's not going anywhere. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some more of these, so definitely get that out as well. Let me see. But gone, but not forgotten, that's a fact. Ricardo said, we will miss Sarah. I will never forget finding out we lost her on my birthday. Oh, really? It was your birthday, Ricardo? I didn't know that. Eric Gore, he said, she was a doll. What a shame. Cancer sucks. Just hit me and my family, too. I know. It seems like no matter... It's almost like try to find any family member that hasn't had cancer. Just one. Very few. It's either heart attacks or cancer or something like that. It's like, my God. Elaine, you said, rest in peace, Sarah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, she died of cancer, multiple myeloma. Same thing my uncle died from. And like I said, when I heard about that, I was like, what? And so I talked to her throughout that because she, she'd have the good days and bad days. Of course, she'd do the chemo and all of the stuff that she had to try to get done to try to defeat this. And at some point, she had gotten better, of course, because it kind of, it was working on it, doing pretty well. And some days she was just completely sick and everything else. She just couldn't do anything. But I'd try to keep her chin up and everything else and say, all you can do is just one thing at a time. Take your time with it. And, so, yeah. Oh, yeah, misheard, yeah. So, like I said, her work will live on as far as I'm alive. And even if I'm not, it's going to stay right here. So we're going to try to compile as much as this. Now it's not so much, she started the ball rolling in a big way and has done what she's done, and we're going to keep it going through Julia. In fact, like I said, she's given me a couple photos. Now she's super busy as well, but I've also asked her for these photos. Like I said, I'm going to get into that and say I'm working my way towards these because I got a bunch of these videos coming down the pike. So I want to try to get them done and get to these as well. And I'm going to take the moon photos I've done recently. I'm going to put them over to lunar anomalies as well. So this way here, it's like if one of the channels goes down, there's a good chance these are going to be up. So you can just come to this channel, everything is Antarctica. Just like lunar anomalies, everything is the moon. So this way it is separate channels. But I usually run them on the regular channel for now because a lot more people can see it there. There's a lot more subs, right? So we're going to do that and then just put them over here as well. And then, as these build, and that's what we'll do. We'll just do them solely on here. But yeah, it was a great loss for everybody, I think. Miss Heard, you said, yes, Chris announcing Cyrus's death hit me like a missile. Absolutely. Absolutely. John Sharp, you said she inspired us too, to gain more. Yeah. Yep, Pete, Sarah died of cancer. Gold Heart, you said her work was incredible. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, if you guys get the time, you like a good, it's almost like a visual book. It's just scrolling. You don't have to do anything to it. Just put it on, just read it. Like I said, you can jump onto this one here, Sarah's Centering of Antarctica, Sarah's thesis, and it says full. Because at the time, I had just about all her work, but she was trying to get out more of it. So until, her passing. So I had up to that point, and then, of course, they did the rest of it, and then I just did it again. So you can see it went from, you can see it right here, the Centering of Antarctica, Sarah Michel's, thesis. And that one there is only 2 hours and 16 minutes long. This one's another hour longer. So there's a lot more stuff involved and scientific findings, both, technical analysis to things we found. And we're just finding more stuff, folks. You can see the other photos and videos I did in here. It's just a handful right now, but we'll be doing more. So. Third eye open, he said, how sweet is that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, Kyle. Yeah, he said, how the hell does cancer take something that beautiful away? It pisses me off. Well, believe it or not, she was in the hospital, and there was I want to say there was 6 to 7 other lot younger kids that were there, and she had to witness that. There was one that was, I think it was 11 or 16. I forget what it was, but a couple of them had passed on before she did. How sad is that? It's just crazy. William Johnson, you said it still makes me teary. I hear you. Josh D taking off. I heard somebody saying that. Or showing that. Long Island, New York, all you got to do is look it up, Antarctica and its hidden secrets, and you can find it. Like I said, we just got the 6 videos up there right now, but that will change. And if you don't get it, if you don't type it in or whatever, I'll have the link in the bottom. And really, really good stuff. Danny Webster said, I'm glad I got to know her before her passing. She was definitely a sweetheart. Cut down. Sorry, cut down way too young. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. going on there, Mervyn Gravel? Hi, Chris. Can't believe it's a year ago. I know. Like I said, we're just 5 days, ahead of the of our, anniversary of her passing. I mean, this is the reason why I mentioned it now, because obviously it won't be that time there. And Julie was saying it would be nice to actually, mention her. I was going to anyway, because, like I said, it wouldn't, the 25th doesn't fall on a Friday. So I was like, yeah, I'll mention her anyway, because it's like it's a huge contribution to the scientific study, and just getting the truth out is what matters. And she was definitely all over that, and she was furious at a lot of the stuff that was going on. Excuse me. And I got my head right in the way of this, don't I? Let me just get that off. And it was crazy because the amount of work that she put in there, she paid a lot of stuff to have a lot of these soil samples done. And you can read this in there in the thesis, where a lot of it had like metal in there. And I mean actual metal, like it was an industrialized area where they had done these analysis. And I think she spent like $3,000 just to have it looked at, something along them lines. So money out of her own pocket to check that out. Phenomenal researcher, just really, just a great person all around. And, like I said, she'll be missed. Where did this thing go? And like I said, I did consider her my daughter, no doubt about it. It's just, just the way we had our relationship. So, yeah. All right. She will definitely not be forgotten, that's for sure. I don't know if you guys have seen this as well. The UFO Reddit. Now, I'm not so sure these are legit. Now, I'll let you guys have a look at these and you can tell me for yourself. But I think it's kind of like this one here. I don't know if there's any particular sound to this one here. I don't think there is. No. But these are just short videos. You can see this. I'll make myself a little smaller here. Get out of the way of the screen. Really, that's, these are questionable, but you don't know. Here's another one. This guy literally...
Look at that. Holy shit, what is that? I am. That's not a plane.
Like I said, these are really interesting. These are pretty cool.
That is not an airplane. You see it? That's not. Holy shit, what is that? I am.
You see they did a zoom in on this. I thought of maybe a couple things. It could be a helicopter looking that way. It could be one of these flares. It could be, it's hard to tell. Where the heck did the other one go? There should have been 3 of them here. It's almost like they just pulled that other video. There was an actual 3rd one here. And that's in the time that I started looking at these. They're gone. How does that work? It's like they yanked one of these off. There was actually 3 videos. Where did the other one go? It's not there. Now this is the one they're talking about Avi Loeb on the hypocrisy of SETI and bullying in the scientific community regarding UAPs. Now I'm going to let you guys listen to this. And now if you don't know who he is, this is a Professor Loeb received a PhD in plasma physics at age 24 from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, 1986, and was subsequently a long-term member at the Institute of Advanced Study in Princeton from 1988 to 1993, where he started to work with theoretical astrophysics. In 1993, he moved to Harvard University, where he was tenured 3 years later. He is now the Frank B. Baird Jr. Professor of Science and former chair of the department. Now, he also holds a visiting professorship at Weizmann Institute of Science and Sackler Senior Professorship, by special appointment in the School of Physics and Astronomy at Tel Aviv University. Now, you gotta listen to this because this is great. You can hear the woman talking first. She's from SETI. He's right here. right here. So there's a second row down, third one over from the left. He's going to talk, but listen to what she says and then listen to him. I'll go ahead and quiet my mouth down.
So Avi, I get a little bit pissed off when you throw the entire scientific culture under the bus, because some of us have been thinking about and building instruments to find anomalies for a very long time. And I think that when we say that if we ever So Avi, I get a little bit pissed off when you throw the entire scientific culture under the bus, because some of us have been thinking about and building instruments to find anomalies for a very long time. And I think that when we say that if we ever are going to announce such a detection, that we require extraordinary evidence, we're doing that as a way of differentiating ourselves from the pseudoscience that is so much a part of popular culture with UFOs. And
now keep in mind, she's right here to the left of him, right in the center, and he's right here on the right, just so you know.
And all kinds of claims of things that people have detected. So
okay.
I wouldn't be so hard on the whole culture, Abby.
Well, let me explain. To your first point, I'm talking about a factor of 1,000 in funding. I'm not talking about a factor of 2 over a decade increase in funding. I'm saying there is a discrepancy by a factor of 1,000 in what needs to be the case relative to what is the case of the community that you are talking about. A factor of 1,000 is a big factor in funding. And moreover, it's even a bigger factor in bullying, because anyone that makes a suggestion in the direction of technological signature is being bullied and ridiculed.
I don't.
Wait a second. Let me finish. Now, my second point is we need extraordinary evidence and then step on the grass and not allow it to grow, which is currently the case. We need extraordinary evidence, but anyone that mentions this possibility is ridiculed by some blogger that doesn't even write a single paper in a decade. That makes no sense whatsoever. This blogger should first practice science.
Well, some of us do.
No, let me finish. How dare people make statements about scientists that explore these possibilities within the scientific method? That's the acidic culture that I'm talking about. There is an acidic culture that suppresses innovation in the current culture of science. And
I was trying to find a full video to that, but I'm loving the way Abby literally rips this woman a new one, because it's a bunch of crap. Like she says, oh, pseudoscience to these UFOs. So you don't believe it's true even though the Pentagon's putting this out? I mean, I just find her foolish. And, like I said, they're just like the mainstream. They just, oh, no, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And like he said, and you were right. Who put that on earlier? I sort of just kind of scroll by. But he was the one who was investigating the Oumuamua, supposedly asteroid, I think it was, or comet. And he was the one who was saying that there was no vapor trail, no ice trail, like ice vapors and particles and everything coming off. There was nothing of the sort. He believed that it was more of a spacecraft. And when you look up, I think it's, what was it called? I think in Hawaiian, Oumuamua is like, I think it's called the Scout. And amazingly, why would you call it a Scout unless you're scouting out the area? So it was funny how it was called that. And I'm not sure who gave it that name. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about who it might have been that had said that. But I think Rock Hits was getting out of there. Rock Hits, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you. Have yourself a good weekend there, right? But, he's right. He's literally saying, listen, you're saying to, we need extraordinary evidence and we need, this kind of work done. And then when you try to do it, you're being ridiculed and basically being beat up by the community. So how is that helping anybody? And if you ask me, folks, I'll bet my life on it, these people have heard more than one radio signal out there. You can almost guarantee it. Because there's no way, no how, that we are the only people ever to exist in this universe with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of stars, and of course the planets around them. So I find it's a bunch of crap when they say, oh, you know, we're just like extra special here. Whatever. I don't believe that for a moment. So I'm glad he's literally going against the grain and telling these people basically to stuff it. Whitebeard. Yeah, Avi's cool. And she has a potato chip between her butt cheeks. Oh, that poor girl. But, yeah, I mean, Jay McGuffey said more and more was epic. Well, the same by time 2022 comes around, it'll be next to Jupiter and stuff like that. So, I mean, it came in, they knew it was coming in. It started to accelerate, came back in and just kind of went right back out. It's like, it didn't just keep going. It literally just went, it just now is literally orbiting. And then it's going to go back out into, you know, past our solar system, exosolar system. What the hell? It's almost like I said, if you were trying to be like really sneaky and you were driving up to somebody's road, it's like if, you know, if you could shut the car off and just shut it off, shut the lights off, you're like all stealthy and shit and like, you know, just checking out the neighborhood and then just start up the car and then go after that. It's kind of like that thing did. It played it like it was a dead stick. And then all of a sudden this thing just took off and started accelerating again. You know, yeah, and he doesn't believe that it was, you know, like a natural phenomenon, like a rock or some kind of giant piece of a planet or whatever it might have been. He believes it was some kind of spacecraft, and I think he's right. Elf, space, alien, cat eater. I like that. That's pretty funny. Love your videos. We love seeing the truth. Well, I mean, it's not just so much, you know, what we can bring out on this channel. I love seeing people going against these jerks because to me, you know as well as I do, it's almost like when they talk, like just crap falls out of their mouth. It's literally garbage. And it's like they're doing anything. I bet all of these people on this panel, including AV, I believe they know what's going on out there. Or they're just not, some of them are not privy to it, and the other ones that are like, basically that run the joint actually know. But you can bet that these guys know, and they're just kind of go, yeah, whatever, we're not going to say a word. They're just going to just keep their mouth shut, right? Just plead the fifth. Carmine, you said the way things are going, Jill Tarter won't find a signal before the Chinese do, or admit to one publicly. Well, that's where it's going to get really bizarre, because who's going to be the one to find it, or at least tell it first? Because do you really want to be one-upped by the Chinese? Oh yeah, we put up this big dish now. It's bigger than Arecibo was in Puerto Rico. And yeah, so we found it. And you people, you simpletons, couldn't do this for how many years you've been listening? And yet, just like that, we found it. So at some point, it's going to be a race to get the information out because they're going to have no credibility at all. Chinese will, though. So when do you just stop being stupid and just let the information out? Doesn't that make more sense? Laird Kibachin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that last part, your last name right, but you say, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. What's going on, Laird? Dan Martin, you said, I believe the universe is full of life. I totally agree with you. I don't believe for a moment that we're anywhere near the only people or beings in this universe at all. Kyle, you said, basically, is what I am saying that we are paying NASA to tell us the truth. If they did that, then we would not need them anymore, so they keep us in turmoil to keep the money coming in. Well, I mean, they can BS like Congress and everybody else to get the money they need, right? And of course, they got people subcontracted, like SpaceX and other companies, the smaller companies that are either helping to build certain things or ship stuff up there. But, you know, yeah, I mean, it's like they know what's going on. They just don't want to tell or let it out. Because if you tell the public, obviously the whole world's going to find out about it. So, but I don't think I'd want to be one up by any country out there. I want to be like, if I got the information, I can spill a little bit of it. You know, just let out something that said, yeah, it sounded like a weird music broadcast, but then stopped. And people would probably go, whatever. They probably wouldn't believe it anyway. But it'd still be intriguing to hear because you'd be like, oh, well, that's pretty interesting. Spooner FPV said, your question was, do you believe that Adolf Hitler had a base in Antarctica and knew of aliens? And if so, do you think anyone has researched, has searched for that base? I think they're aware that it's there. In other words, let's say he did. Now, I heard stories about that as well. I have no way to confirm that. But it would not surprise me if you were trying to get away from, you know, because it said that I don't think he's ever been found. He just like disappeared and that was the end of it. He could very well have, if he was alive, he could very well have just gone there because they did go up there. They did actually do an expedition up there many times. And they could have easily built a base up there. How do we know? Hell, we did back in the 40s and 50s. Why couldn't they do it? So they each put their own stake on a piece of the property there. And so I'm building my base here. I'm building mine here. But again, I always wondered, is it just to be secluded? Or were you doing scientific something or other over there? Because why would you need a long-term base built in Antarctica or on Antarctica, depending on how you want to look at it? Why would you need a permanent base there? It's one thing for geologists to go up there and do some studies, some core studies, and so on and so forth. But to do an actual, you know, what? To do what? Unless you're trying to keep another country from taking over the whole Antarctica, what's up there of special interest that people feel the need to have to be there permanently? And I think we know the answer to that. Yeah, I know, Dan Martin, you said they keep going back to that the public will freak out if we hear the truth. And I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think so. I don't think anybody here would freak out. Like I said, the only way people would freak out is if there was actually a UFO and it literally started blowing up things. Now, would that be us? Remember they said this fake invasion kind of thing? So is it possible they can have like a bunch of these little Tic Tacs flying around, all of a sudden start shooting up stuff? Then you go, oh. But then why wouldn't that happen prior to this? If UFOs have been seen for thousands of years, because even the ancient people have seen them, and they talked about them as gods, then if that's the case, then why would they have not done this sooner? Doesn't make any sense. And of course, he's talking about right here. It says, aliens have visited, and he's not kidding. In conversation, a Harvard University professor explains his shocking hypothesis and calls out what he sees a crisis in science. And he's talking about that very same thing that he's basically jumping SETI for, because he's being, people, they come up with these ideas because based on his knowledge or his researching, he thinks it's something much more than just a simple rock out in space. And of course, they're like, whatever, and you can't do that. And the reason why I think they're laughing at him is this. They're trying to make him look bad, and they already know the truth. They already know that, these things are out in space. They've got pictures, real pictures of these things. They communicated, or at least received signals from these other planets. And they're just like, oh, come on. This guy's got to be crazy. We would never see anything like that over here. You're just silly that more is this what you say it is. Make him look bad, discredit him. That's what it's all about. Call him the tin foil hat wearer, call it whatever you want. But you know what? Bull. That's why I laugh when people come on the channel and I'm talking about the people that are like, oh, this guy's a dope, man. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, well, listen, hold on. Unless you've done your own research, you can't talk. Dan Martin said, was it Chinook? I wouldn't freak. I'd love to see a craft. Yeah. Pat Harvey said the Nazis had a base on Antarctica, and it was discovered by Admiral Byrd, and they fled to Argentina. The Admiral Byrd had gone there, and I think he had said that there's actually a portion of Antarctica was actually warmer. Now, I don't know if it was due to maybe volcanic activity, but it was really warm in this big valley, and it was plush green, trees everywhere. So, and I don't think he was full of it. I think he was telling the truth. Z Humble Pie, what's going on? I don't think I seen you in there earlier. He said, life is teeming out there. I truly believe that. I was watching Richie over there at GoofOn, and he's saying, do you think life will be found, or they'll, stuff like that? And I'm not sure of his answer, because I was kind of in and out of the room. But to me, absolutely, not only are they going to find it, but they already know about it. You'd have to be, not thinking clearly, because here's the thing. You know as well as I do, SETI didn't start last year. This has been going on for years. They've known about, searching in the skies and everything else. You know as well as I do, at some point, kind of like the movie Contact, where they literally heard signals. Now, I don't think it was anything extravagant like what they went through, but no. Got plans to build this basically transportation device, or going to a different, plateau, or different, whatever it may be. But either way you look at it, they probably never ran into anything like that, but you can bet they heard signals. And like I said, we get these FRBs, these fast radio bursts, and I believe those are communications. I don't believe it's just a stellar burst from a nebula and all of a sudden. Now, does it happen in nature out there? Yes. But like I said, they're like flashing here, flashing over here. Now, it's possible it is actually nature or planetary, and is shooting off this energy of gamma rays and all this other stuff. But it's not out of the question to see if we can communicate in light, and we're using quantum communications now. If it's not out of the realm that we're using communications in light, which we do in regular cable, you get cable service for TV, and it's fiber optics. That's what they're doing. They're transmitting information through light, and this has been going on for years, since the 80s. So if they can do that, you can bet NASA's actually done that, but they're playing off, well, we only have so much information we can transmit at a time. And as far as pitches, we can only do that at so many X amount of kilobytes per second or minute. All this big crap. But to me, it's like they got much more than that. They've probably been using the laser for years. And it wouldn't surprise me if these FRBs are actually flashes of information, and these people are literally communicating back and forth. And I think they have an inkling that's probably the same thing. They're thinking the same thing. Cloud 33 Studios, what's going on? He said, hey, Chris, pretty recently they have concluded that they now believe that the amount of planets that can sustain life is in the billions. Even Amazon's Alexa will verify that. Exactly. Like I said, just look up, and when I showed that picture about the Hubble taking it was like pristine photo, and I showed it to you with this galaxies and stars and just just in the universe, and you could see it. And that was only like I said, they said it was like a grain of sand from a beach. That was the portion of the sky that they looked at, and there was that much in the sky. So yeah, we're just special creatures here, folks. There's nowhere ever going to be life ever again. Stop it. Knock it off. I just find it silliness. Dan Martin, he said, I gotta go. Love you all. Keep up the great work, Chris. All right, Dan, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for your comments and stuff like that and your support. Appreciate you. Have yourself a good weekend. Whitebeard Sky Daddy said there is a simple and easy means of connection between these vastly separate, I guess it's supposed to separated points in space. We currently just don't know how, but probably used to, most likely. Well, again, it's kind of like if you're trying to receive a signal from a satellite, whether it be DirecTV, whatever it may be. It could be Express View, Bell Express View. with an FM receiver. Clearly that's not going to work. It's kind of like if you see these fast radio bursts, you go, okay, what if it is a communications through light? You'd have to build a receiver to be able to do that. So not only is it light, but you got to be able to, break it down and decipher that signal. So is it possible it is communications from different parts of the universe? And it's flashes of light. I call it the, like the universal newspaper, so to speak, a flash of light, and everybody just receives it. And it just comes down and says, okay, this is what's going on in, Alpha Centauri, and this is what's going on over here and here. Pure speculation. However, what if is the question. What if it is true, and all you need to do is build a receiver for that, get in that light, break it down, decipher the light, decode it, and you got all the information that's going on in the universe. Maybe it's numerical, mathematical. We don't know. But to me, that sounds about right. He's like, remember the guy, and I keep forgetting his name, the one that said the main cheese over there at SETI. He's like, well, we haven't found any kind of life yet, and this, that, and the other. Stop. It's like just now we're seeing all these FRBs, and now we're seeing this. Now, I'm not saying they don't exist, and I'm not saying they can't. I'm just saying that I find it hard to believe, out of all the years they've been listening to the stars, nothing. Now, they do get sounds, like I said, from quasars and planetary sounds, because they give off like a certain radio signal and vibration, so on and so forth. I get all that. They'll get that, but they can determine what that is. But I'm sure they've talked about, like, what if this particular sound coming from this planet is not just like a song from the planet, but it's actually their transmissions, their radio signals. How do we know they're not? So you can bet they put it through different decoders and done all kinds of crazy stuff just to see. And you can bet they've done it. No, nothing new though, Ricardo. You said fast radio burst, FRBs, new bulletins. Yeah, well, that's what you're going to say. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it's like a news bulletin. Like they're getting this information from one side of the universe to the other. Light's the fastest way you can do it. And if it's concentrated light, and if you just point at a certain area, and of course that area just, you don't know if it's just one planet that receives it all and then distributes it throughout that area. We just don't know. We have no idea. It could be so far advanced from us, we wouldn't have a clue. But everybody's so close-minded here on Earth, they're like, yeah, it could never happen. Really? I find it hard to believe, and I'm not talking about you folks, of course, but I'm saying I find it hard to believe that people won't even entertain the thought. They just automatically, it's not true. What makes it not true? There's a lot of things I'm sure we don't even have a clue about, and yet we think we have the knowledge of what's going on, and yet we don't. And especially us, as the public, we're being left in the dark, because you can bet whatever the government knows, it's insanely, like, crazy to us if we heard about it. Ricardo, he said, people forget radio spectrum is huge. If you can utilize a huge portion of that spectrum at once, you can send a huge volume of information at once. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. How do we know? Now, we have X amount of frequencies. We can go to, you have your little cell phone, or your cordless phone, rather, and it could be like, 6 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, 2.4 gigs. You got all this kind of stuff. Military frequencies. You got the 40-meter band, 20-meter band, all these ham radios. You get all kinds of crazy stuff out there. But, we discovered that you use a certain frequency, you can talk through concrete. You can talk through a better distance, whatever it may be, X-band. You can talk to all kinds of, radio signals travel in different, different air, different, what's the word I'm trying to use here? There's certain frequencies for certain applications, right? If you're working in concrete structures, you need to have X amount. You can have a VHF. Some work better with UHF. It depends on how powerful it is. There's a whole bunch of things. So now, if you go to, like I said, they use the VHF, I think, as well as X-band on these rovers. Okay, and you could bet they're using quantum communications. It's not just that. And you can almost bet they have like a form of live feed coming from there with some lag. So in other words, it starts to buffer, because it knows the distance from Mars to Earth, and then just sends the information. It could be like short video burst. You know, so in other words, it may be watching 10 to 15 seconds of a video. It stores it up in the craft and then sends it back. But you can bet, again, it's quantum communications. Sean Bradley said, thanks so much, Chris, for all your work. Well, I appreciate it, Sean. And it's people like yourself is the reason why I keep doing this, because it's of the interest of the people that keeps me going, you know what I mean? And the support of the channel and everything else. That's what keeps this channel going. So, you know, I just love doing it. So, and it's kind of like, we need to get the information out. We need to get this out. There's so much to see, and so that we're not even, again, we can look at all these photos and just see like a small tidbit of what's in there. It's actually stuff being really hidden, and we're only seeing a very tip of this stuff. You got a great point there, Mars, the second Genesis. He said, how do you expect people with the intellect of a cockroach who only care about the next iPhone to actually understand the concept of life beyond this planet? Excuse me. And I totally agree. It's like, again, I've said this many times, and you guys heard me say it, where people repeat themselves every single day, where they go to work, come home, have dinner, watch their favorite little shows, and go to bed, and then repeat the next day, with absolutely no desire to learn what's going on, what the human race is really about. Because like I said 100 times before, we are part of something much, much larger, and we're seeing it just through these photos. So even in our solar system, there's been life on it. And you can bet almost every planet, every moon, and every body in this solar system has been covered somehow, meaning life on it, or base is put on it. Again, you don't have to live on you can live on a planet that's super gaseous that would kill you within seconds on any planet. Doesn't mean you have to live on the planet. You can live underground on the planet. Even at its core, you can live there, like some of these gaseous planets, right? So it's not impossible to have life on other planets that you and I would die on the second we went on to. But if you address, as long as the atmosphere isn't highly acidic, and it was, let's say it was all carbon, nothing but carbon, you could still go in there with a suit on and just giving you oxygen. You can walk around that planet all day long. Now picture having your own housing that actually converts the carbon to oxygen, which we've already achieved. So you can literally live on this planet. It's thick with carbon, but because it is, the machine that converts it is getting abundance of oxygen out because of the abundance of carbon outside your structure. So it's not impossible, folks. And people are just so close-minded. I see a lot of YouTubers doing the same thing. I'm going, why do you believe that this could never happen? Why do you believe that we're the only ones could ever survive on these planets or anywhere? People go, that planet would be way too cold. There's no way you could live on that. Right, I agree. Live on it doesn't mean you can't live underground on it, or live on the surface in a dome, or some kind of structure that has its own atmospherics. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. Sean Bradley said, surface of the moon, Mars, is loaded with crazy structures. Thanks again. Yeah, I mean, and then we're finding out, because I just did the Pluto video, there's more crazy stuff on it. And the more you look into these things, and like I said, you can't tell me that the moon is super white and bright. You can't tell me that Pluto is as well. You see how white everything is on that in certain parts. If you look at other photos of it, it's like so whited out. No, it is not. And somebody had brought up that earlier. They said, yeah, I find it hard to believe the sun's that bright that they can find out. I think it's fake. It's not that. It's like maybe they found a way that they can brighten up the camera itself. They can bring up the brightness of the film or the digital when they take the picture. So they just bring up the exposure and it's super bright, but then they just block out what they don't want you to see. Take a normal photo, they just adjust the exposure, get a perfect picture, and then take one that's overexposed, and that's what they give to the public. Of course, they have to doctor it up, paint it out, do this, do that, and just get rid of all the stuff that we don't need to be seeing, or we're on the need-to-know basis kind of thing. And that's how they do it. Jerry Lahane, you said moon people don't use rockets. No, they're probably using anti-gravitics and everything else, right? Jay McGuffey said I was born in the wrong century, would have loved the 1800s. Yeah, I mean, that's when things started to really take off, too, as far as technology, and it wasn't as jerky back then either. I mean, hell, we had the first electric cars come out then. I have a picture that shows like a whole bunch of them all like in a building, all plugged in. People think, oh, the electric car is a new thing. It's not. They just didn't have the technology, and the batteries were shit back then, and they didn't have the technology to keep them running for a super long time, although some of them went like 75 miles. And some of them were just, they just changed the batteries out every time you went out. They just changed them out to the ones that are already charged. So, but they were, the cars only went like 5-10 miles an hour. Some of them went faster, but still, the technology is not new. It's refined technology, sure. Mars, the second Genesis, says people's reality is based on the rubbish they're fed. I refer to the mainstream media. It makes me sick to the core. Yeah, because they avoid everything that could possibly enlighten the human race, and we'd rather talk about crap that I could care less about. I tell my wife all the time, I don't want to listen to this garbage news, man. The only thing, if I have to watch it, I'll watch like the brighter side of news, or like if I have to know the weather, which I can still ask the Amazon Dot here, what's going, the next day is going to be. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to know anything out there. I get up in the morning, I already know what the temperature is, the wind, and everything else because of my weather station here when I get outside. I don't need to hear a damn thing what they got to say. And every time you turn on the news, it's nothing but depressing, 99% of the time. Not always, but it's rubbish on TV. I can't stand it. Tim Houston says, got to split. Take care, guys. Take care, you guys. Thanks again, Chris. All right, Tim, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you being here, and have yourself a great weekend there, right? Terry Calling, you said Mercury never seems to get mentioned as having life forms on it. Well, like I said, you have to look at, now less sweet, you just said it's too hot on Mercury, but on the other side of the token, if you go to the poles, it is not. This is where it gets people. So you got the poles which actually have ice on them, which is really weird if you read on it, or it's just a lot cooler. And if you go to the lot cooler into the really, really hot areas, it literally has like a Goldilocks zone right in that area. It's like a sweet spot. So although you couldn't walk on the surface in the direct sunlight, you literally would get cooked. But if you get in a certain part of that, you could literally walk around and be fine. Again, though, what if, and I'm trying to remember, anybody know the orbit of that planet? I'm not sure if it was Mercury, but it took like 30 days to actually revolve. So I'm not sure if it was Mercury, but think about this. If you're an alien race and you're building on that planet, you can build it or go underground. Again, what's to hurt you if you're underground? Ricardo, thank you again, sir, for your support, man. He said Bugs Bunny used to say that he shouldn't have taken the left turn at Albuquerque. That's something of the analogy for science in the 19th century. Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Mark Daniels said we need to humble ourselves to the grand story. Yeah, I mean, I think if people really started to just contemplate this, like, that they actually said, yeah, I wonder where we actually come from. And just stop and think. I mean, you don't have to get into all of this, the stuff that we get into here. Just a simple chat like, I wonder if there's any other life out there. Even if you didn't have the answers to it, who cares? The thing is, you're questioning it. You're wanting to know. It's like you're hungry for this information. And when I was younger, I just felt like I was part of something much larger then. So then when I started getting into a lot of this stuff, I always loved science. I loved everything about science. It's unfortunate that the mainstream scientists are just full of it, or a lot of them just don't know, and the more the higher up in the elites know more than they do. Now, if they do know, they're not saying it. So they say, yeah, like kind of like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I used to think he was pretty cool, but he's so full of crap too. Oh yeah, UFOs, that's a bunch of shit. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. And it's crazy that, these are the people who are astrophysicists and stuff like that, but they totally don't believe that. Really? Let's see. Daniel Webster said, yeah, what the government knows would probably shock us. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that the nuclear scientists in the 40s used to speak with aliens. Yeah, I mean, I heard stories about that too, but there's no way to vet any of that. But you can bet there's probably been communications with other beings for years. And I'm talking about, back in the ancient times as well. Because again, they claim that, the gods came down from the heavens and taught them all kinds of stuff. Like, like I said, any language, mathematics, agriculture, all that stuff. So they would have to actually come down and talk to them, right? So they probably perceived their gods because they literally came down from the heavens and landed right in front of them. And, a lot of these ancient civilizations, they bow to them. So wait a minute, they have the gift of flight. I don't, and yet they do. So think about it. Jerry Lane, Neil, my butt Tyson. Yeah, Whitebeard, I agree with you. I used to thought he was something pretty cool. Then the way he just snubs everything off, like you said, he's just Tyson is a douchebag. It's, well, you don't totally understand it. You have to look at and read the science. There's nothing wrong with science. I love science, but I don't love science when it lies to the public. Yeah, remember that happened not long ago, Jay. He said the solar observatories were raided by the FBI for nefarious reasons. Remember that? Was it that time when they were shutting them down and nobody knew why? They were just literally shutting a few of them down and people are going, what's going on? Like there's like a whole bunch of them, I think around the world got shut down, wasn't it? Well, in New York, he said, Chris, I'm curious to know more about your childhood and life experiences. You don't get many chances to talk about them. I mean, I don't know what you want to talk about. I mean, well, in a nutshell, I fell out of the womb, went to school, went to work, and I'm here. Does that pretty much sum it up? I hate when this thing jumps here. Z Humble Pie said everyone should read Alexander Boscovich. Tesla read his formulas. Oh, yeah. Very, very brilliant people back in the day. And, of course, people laughed about it because they go, how can the people be that brilliant and we had nothing for technology? Well, technology was coming around. And if you think about it, a lot of things were, like I said, they were technologically advanced back in the day for their time. All we did is refined it. The light bulb, simple things. We went from using like these huge wall of computers. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures, but it was like they had this huge piece of machinery they were putting on this cube truck, this box van, call it what you want. There's several different types, but they were literally trying to hoist this thing up. I don't know how big this thing. I don't know if it was like 10 feet by like 10 feet, and might have been 6 feet deep or whatever it was. And it was like they're loading 5 gigs of RAM onto a truck. Think about that. How crazy that is back in the 60s or 70s. Now it's like, that's a joke. You go 5, I think it was like 5 megs of RAM. It wasn't even a gig. I'm like, 5 megs, what the hell? Who the hell uses that? Back then, that was technologically advanced until they started going with, like I said, hybrid stuff. So it went from tubes down to solid state electronics, and then it became SMCs, surface mount components. When they're super tiny, you need literally tweezers to pick out, like, let me get that resistor out, with a huge magnifying glass and a very steady hand. I've worked on them. They're not fun. And because they're so darn small, it's hard to get in these tiny spaces with these things. Great for All says, I work with robots all day. It gives me time to think about this stuff since the robots don't talk to me. Yeah, it'd be a little bad trying to talk to them. They don't talk back. Yeah, it's not good. That's cool, though. Jonathan Waddell, he says, good night, all. I hope you guys have a good weekend. You too, Jonathan. I hope you do, too. Thanks for coming in here, jumping in here, and throwing your comments or questions there. It's great. Thanks for being here. Ricardo says, technology is not a measure of sophistication or intelligence until we shove that notion we will not truly progress. Yeah, I mean, technology is one thing. It's just to help you along your path, right? You know, it's literally to help you do your everyday deeds, so to speak. You know, you want to get from point A to point B, you jump in your car and you go. You need to heat up your lunch, you use a stove or you use a microwave. You need to talk to somebody, you get on the phone, either FaceTime or, you know, get on the regular cordless phone or cellular phone. It's just, all of these are tools. They shouldn't be worshipped. They're nothing more than a tool. Like my brother says, he says, a car is nothing more than a tool. I see these people wanting to drive around in Lambos and everything. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to have one, but in a sense, nah. If I won the lottery tomorrow, wouldn't buy one. Wouldn't waste my time. It's to get your rear end from point A to point B. Now, if you want luxury, I guess you could do that. But you could be comfortable in anything, and as long as it does it, you know, the way it should, meaning literally from point A to point B, then you're good to go. I told my wife, I said, I could drive around in a pod all day. It wouldn't even bother me. I see these people driving around these big behemoth-looking SUVs. You know, I'm like, good God. You know, it's nothing wrong with 11 miles to the gallon. Wowzers. Let me tell you something. It's cold here. It's down to 30 right now, but it's supposed to be down in like the low 20s, mid 20s. But everybody's fuel economy goes down. Even batteries act differently in the cold. So people are like, oh yeah, I'll bet you get really screwed when it's cold out. So don't you. You get worse gas mileage. They go, yeah, you're right. I never thought of that. But, you know, to me, like I just filled up and I'm still getting 47 miles to the gallon, which is kind of crap, but it's about my average. But if I'm on the highway, that's mixed, by the way. That's mostly in town, stop and go and all this crap. But when I'm on the highway, I've hit 57 miles to the gallon. So, you know, like I said, I always bought something that paid me back. Now, some people need a big truck. Why? For work. Maybe it's a work van. Absolutely. I've talked about this before. Some people go, I just wanted to buy a truck. Nothing wrong with that either. You know, but I believe in just buying something that fits my lifestyle. I can go out and buy a dually right now. I can buy a huge truck. In fact, a friend of mine's selling one. And I can buy that and it could probably pull my house down. For what reason? I have no reason for a truck whatsoever. I'm not trying to show off my manhood by the size of the vehicle that I drive. I need to have a vehicle that pays me back in my wallet every single week. And I've accomplished that. So, you know, but some people go, no, I'd rather have a bigger vehicle. I feel safer in it. Good idea. You should. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like my buddy. He's got one of these, the hell is that? It's a Duramax. And it does okay for what it is. But he's always crying every time the fuel prices go up. I said, Then he said, oh, dude, maybe your car wasn't a joke after all, because he laughed, because the electric car he got is really small. And he kind of laughs at it. But then he's like, every time he goes to the gas pump, I'm going, how are you making out over there? How's that wallet feeling? Oh, dude, it's crying right now. I said, hey. And he doesn't need the truck. He really doesn't. His lifestyle doesn't even need it. I said, maybe you should reconsider, man. That's all. You know, in this day and age, when everything's so damn tight, and the money's so tight, I go, I want to conserve. I want to save as much money as I can to live better, you know what I mean? So that's what it comes down to. Third Eye Open, you said, yeah, back in the day when I was a programmer, the disk drives were literally huge and had to be air conditioned. Yes, I remember those. In fact, a buddy of mine used to work on those. And they were huge. But, you know, you look at the technology now, it's come so far, right? I mean, it's just amazing. And that's what I love about it. Elaine M. He said, or we can call you Crystal, depending on which one you want to be called. Even we need more fuel in the cold weather. Yeah, because air is more dense. It's more dense in the combustion chambers. It uses more fuel, you know, to move the vehicle. So this is the reason why you lose all kinds of, you know, economy. You know, you could be getting, let's say, I'm going to throw a hypothetical 30 miles to the gallon. You won't see that in the dead winter. You might see 25. And if you really take it easy, you might be able to squeeze towards the 30, but yeah, it's hard to do. Yeah, Ricardo, yeah, you said Apollo 11 could be piloted with your smartphone, but you can't drive your car. Yeah. I mean, unless, of course, you look at the Teslas where it literally comes out and parks itself and comes out of the spot and everything. That's pretty cool. But they're getting there. Ricardo said the real test the real test of electric cars will be if you can upgrade the battery to a better one or be forced to buy a new car, e-car. Yeah, I mean, again, they're coming out, instead of using these lithium ion, now they're going to be using solid state. So I'd love to be able to have a company making those for every electric car on the road, because chances are they'll be cheaper. You're talking about solid state. You're not talking about lithium and the process it has to go through. They literally build them in a factory, and that's it. Charge it half, a quarter of the time that it would a lithium battery. It's like literally minutes, charged up full, go. You know, get 200-300 miles out of it. So, you know, the technology's getting there. Absolutely. Lion Glassworks, I'm driving the classic 91 Mitsubishi Mighty Max mini truck. I've seen those. Those are awesome. And I bet you get decent gas mileage if it's a stick. I think most of them were sticks and some of them were automatic. But yeah, you know, good little truck. Pete Ferreira says political games. They want us to save the planet, but governments still look for ways to blow it up. Or they're just really ripping out its guts, right? Like, you know, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the lithium that the batteries use because of the constant, you know, these lithium mines and everything else. I'm glad that they're coming out with something that's less dangerous, you know, because of the, you know, these things. And, you know, it's better that they're coming out with something solid state where it'll be easily built and you can charge it, discharge it all you like. It's just great, you know. David Vaught, you said in World War II, the computer took a whole city block, all tubes, was to calculate torpedoes and artillery trajectories. Yeah. Yeah, they were huge. Absolutely. Jay McGuffey, Transit T280 in a Zafira, I guess it is, 2 SRI, but my 1997 GT Hot Wheels BMX is timeless and therapeutic. Yeah, that's when you think way back when it's like, yeah, it was just cool. Oh yeah, you're right about that, Z Humble Pie. You said the Bible has many passages of alien visitors. Look into the story of Enoch. Absolutely. When you get stories of these vehicles or machines with a wheel within a wheel and all that other cool stuff. Cloud 33 Studios, he said Mercury has structures all over it. I zoomed the images from the flyby and boom. Oh, I guarantee it. The flyby of Mercury was the Mariner probe. Absolutely. Yep, Lionheart, he said the 5-speed stick shift. Yep, gas sipper. And it would be nothing to see like 30, 35 miles to the gallon out of thing, especially how hard you're running it. You know, I know people that drive a stick and they're like redlining the damn thing all the time. So what are you doing? Just get into it slowly and just make sure you'll know as far as RPM wise how smooth it goes in from one gear to another instead of you jerk it with the stick and like, my God, where did you learn how to drive that thing? Alf, Space Alien Cat Eater said the ugly but Geo Metro's got 50 miles to the gallon also. Little crap boxes, but barely use gas. Yeah, well, it's just like the Yugos. Remember that from Yugoslavia? Same thing. They had, I think, 3 cylinders. Then they went to 4 cylinders at the time. And, yeah, I mean, you know, now you laugh at them now. Heck, I had a 79 Toyota Corolla 5-speed. I think it was great on gas. It was like I would travel probably 20, 25 minutes to work, and I still had to fuel up every 2 weeks. Every week and a half, 2 weeks, to be fair. And it's all in how you drive it. I used to put a slightly taller tire on the back because it's rear-wheel drive. Only because I'm on the highway a lot. Less revving, still doing the same speed. Wasn't doing it for speed, I was doing it for cruising. So I actually got better gas mileage. Outspace Alien Cat Eater says, Bob Lazar, is big time into hydrogen fuel cell tech. Yeah, I mean, he built his own, right? He had his mid-'80s Corvette where he had these 3 hydrogen tanks in the back. Solar power to actually run that hydrogen maker. And that's how he fueled it. Just, boom, there you go. That's the way to do it. This is back in the 80s. Elaine M. You're talking to Z Humble Pie. Lots of alien flying being stories right across the ancient history. Try to describe even an airplane without modern words. You might say metal shiny birds, flying carpets. Exactly. Absolutely. You know, nobody's going to go, hey, look, a flying saucer. They're just going to go, you know, silver winged bird. I mean, whatever the best way they can describe it, right? Yeah, the Corolla is worth big dollars now. I wish I still had it. Just like my Opel Manta I had the Americanized Opel, Buick Opel, and then I had the Opel Manta. A buddy of mine was selling the Opel GT, which I couldn't get a hold of, and it was only like $1,600, and he actually had a spare one to go with it. Either one of those cars are big bucks, and I can't find them to save your life. I'd love to have a Manta again. Those were cool. I almost had like the Ferrari back lights on it. It was a 73 Opel Manta. Anybody got one they want to sell? Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, reading everyone's comments here is most awesome. It's reassuring to know that there are, in truth, many rational people still. Yeah, Jay, there you go. Opel's worth a big cash in the UK. Yeah. Well, I mean, they had their own Opels, too, in the UK, right? Had different models than we'd have here. I liked it because the Manta had the Isuzu motor in it. Just like we had the Chevy Love pickup, which had the Isuzu motor in it. And I remember having one of those. My brother-in-law says, hey, you want this? I said, what do you mean want it? It's why I got it from a buddy of mine. All I want is, I think it was just the rims he wanted to change out, and I think he wanted the roll bar off of it, which I didn't, it was kind of corny looking anyway. And it was a rebuilt motor, had 22,000 miles on it. And for some odd reason, they had this little chrome air filter on it, which is fine, but they had a cherry bomb exhaust. I went, ugh, good Lord. You know, it's a good way to burn up a few valves in it. So what I do is I just went and got the original one, which is like this big barrel muffler, and put it on there. It's nice. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Sounded nice and quiet, just like it's supposed to from the factory. Good running little truck. Oh, you worked on one of those? We'll call you Alf. He said, I worked in a Buick Opel about 6 months ago. I'd love to have, I had a black one. Had all the gauges in it and everything else. Good little car. And I bought it for a song and dance. They wanted like $1,200 back in the 80s for it. I said, listen, tell them I'll give them $800 right now cash. And they were like, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. It was at a gas station, and they were trying to sell it for somebody. And I said, well, man, today's your lucky day. You can have it for the 8. I said, all right. So that was it. Great Ball says, the Romans called UFOs flying shields. And rightfully so. If you've seen that from the air, what would you think it is? Makes perfect sense, right? Yep. Jay McGuffey, the Cadet Manta. Well, they had the Opel Cadet, which is really kind of a funky looking Manta, right? It was just a, but some of those are 4-door, and I think most of them were 2-doors, weren't they? There you go, Miss Hurt. You're going back and forth. You said, I just want to stand on the perimeter and wave my "We Want Disclosure" sign. Yeah, just wave it around. Frack Centurion, what's going on? I said, good morning. Not for me. It's almost 8 o'clock. But yeah. Long Island, New York says, Luis Elizondo says, there are forbidden truths in America that would upset the balance that's been there for a long time if it were known. Although I think he's just he's a windbag, but there is some truth to that because, well, I should say, but why though? Because had they come out and told the truth from the very get-go, we would probably be more united today, but we wouldn't be so freaked out because now it's compounded over the course of time, right? So technology's getting better. They know more information about other worlds, so on and so forth. And yeah, now it would probably totally freak us out, right? I don't believe for a moment that if they hadn't told us years ago, I don't believe for a moment we'd be freaked out today. We'd be wanting to know more. And if as long as they were transparent, everybody'd be like, oh, wow, you know, that's cool, that's good. And, you know, and they're going, okay, we're working towards getting to this other world because we know there's other planets around there that invited us to be in their community or their neighborhood, if you will, galactic neighborhood. So we're working towards it. Oh, wow, yeah, yeah. So you'd be more focused on what's going on up there instead of battling with each other constantly. People would get behind their governments because they're telling the truth. But that could be more the total opposite. Yep, Frank Centurion is in the hizoo. Well, you may want to take a closer look at it, Jerry. He said, you guys floor me with that Mercury info, seeing artifacts. Artifacts is one thing, and I get it. You'll see this in a lot of these photos, right? But here's the question. Are they actually artifacts? Meaning, is it compression artifacts? And if they are naturally in the photo, maybe it was a piss poor photo, or are they actually intendedly put there in certain areas? I've seen this many a times. Ricardo, he said Elizondo is paid to tell you what you want to hear. He worked for the CIA counterintelligence and still a CIA assistant. Think about it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Larry Cameron, you said, are there any books you recommend that explains NASA's cover-up, why they manipulate the photos, etc.? We can't handle the truth. Well, I mean, if you look at like the Brookings report, which was, funny enough, was made by NASA, just look up Brookings report, the Brookings report, and you'll see what it says. It basically says if anybody knew the truth about what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And of course, this is written back in the 60s, like I said, what were they doing in the 60s? That's right, going to the moon. It's kind of like, and of course they were doing much more than that. We know that for a fact. Just based on what we found in these orbiter pictures. And that was funny today. It's funny we mentioned that because there was a person on there and I was talking about that moon video, the video I made, where I said, yeah, the orbiter's looking down and, you know, I wasn't sure because it didn't have a scale or a distance on it. I looked in the description of that photo and it didn't have like a distance from the LRO or whatever spacecraft, because some pictures are different. It could have been from Apollo or whatever. But the LRO is approximately 75 miles off the surface of the moon. This guy comes out and says, oh, right, now the moon's got an orbiter around it. I went, what the hell? Where do these people come from? I mean, what? I'm like, these people are like completely shut in. Yes, I said, yes, it's called the LRO. Do some research on it. And of course I said, look, Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter right after, so he'd understand. They're like, oh, so now it's got a satellite around it? I went, where do these people come out of? These mutants. Oh, I misheard. I see you seeing when he's in. I see you have a couple of new vids out, Frack. I will visit show. Yeah, I'll have to check that out myself. Long Island, New York, he said Tom DeLonge is a fraud. I don't know. I still in Lewis' heart, he's trying. You know, yeah, I mean, you know, as soon as they mentioned Tom DeLonge, I went, what? Just stay with the group, man. Don't worry about it. Stay out of the community. Don't get me wrong. You could be a fan of ufology, and you can be, you know, these people are now, what is it Demi Lovato just getting into that too now? It's like, you know, it's okay to be, you know, interested in UFOs. It's okay to, you know, want to know more. But all of a sudden, these people are like aficionados and this stuff. And I'm going, really? Because why? It's the big thing right now. Time to cash in. So that's what it's all about. And don't get me wrong. People are curious, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm the same way. I want to know as much information as I can. So there's nothing wrong with that, but then starting a show, yeah, I see the UFO, so therefore we have a show now. Wow. Yeah, right on about that, Ricardo. Rodolfo Cruz, what's going on? He said, hey, Chris, happy to be here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Rodolfo. Good to see you here. Yeah, David, you're right about that. David Vaught says Brookings report is like the well-used welcome mat for all U.S. I'm sorry, I was going to say U.S. NASA SOP, yeah, and decisions to hike the truth since they wrote the thing. Basically, yeah, I mean, at first you read it and you go, yeah, the Brookings report. I wonder who wrote. Oh, NASA of all people. I mean, it's so you can understand why, in a sense, they're going out of their way to hide this stuff. But what if they literally told the truth right from the word go when they said, oh, by the way, we've seen something on the moon through a telescope. We're now going to investigate it. And just let everybody in on it. Every other country could have done the same, kept the human race up to speed. There would be no secrets to give away. And don't get me wrong, there'd be a lot of questions. If anything, they could have just lied about, you know, not so much what they've seen, but how they would explain it to the people. So in other words, it would keep them chill. So if they said, by the way, we've seen some structures in there, clearly they're not ours, people want to ask questions. Well, from what we found, it looked like there was no weaponry there, even if there was. There was no weaponry there. It seemed like there were, we didn't see anything of any destruction, so it seemed like they were very peaceful people or beings. So yeah, I mean, cool. So people go, oh, and when you said structures up there, I thought there was going to be an invasion here. But they could have dumbed it down that way, but still told the truth. I don't know. Of course, you know, some people still go over the deep end. You know that for a fact, right? Gerdabanus, what's going on? He said, Chris, it's not a science crisis, but a usurpation of science. Yeah, that's a fact. Whitebeard Sky Daddy says, a snarky, dead inside college professor shot me a sharp question about aliens once. Why would they come here? As if the question destroyed the possibility. Some believe life is a chemical reaction. Yeah, I mean, there's many levels of life, right? From microbial to whatever. Infinity. Channel UTM, what's going on? He said, hello, sorry off subject tonight. Sent you a couple of pics. Hope they work for you. I'll have to check it out. I am here, and I think that my eyes are going to pop out. Good night, everyone. All right, I'll definitely check that out, and I'll get back to you. So, yeah, have yourself a good night there, right? Mags K, what's going on? Been busy, glad to be here eventually. There you go. I'm glad you're here. Say hi, Chris. Hi, Hangout, Chris, and all. I've been busy, glad to be here eventually. Nothing wrong with that. Although we'll probably be shutting down pretty soon, but still good to be here. Nothing wrong with that. Ricardo here said, if it's not a consensus, it's not science. It's got to love the double thing. Exactly. Spot on. David Vaught says, one general tried to do that at the press conference after the Wash D.C. UFO flap in 1952. He was quickly corrected, as was the general in Texas in 1947 concerning the Roswell crash. Yeah, you notice how that's like totally flipped, you know, conversations. Like, oh yeah, it was a UFO. Oh no, it wasn't. It was just tinfoil. It was just a balloon. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Let's see. David, you also said generals have to toe the line, or as Bob Dylan says, everybody's got to serve somebody. Yep. Everybody's got to be, yeah, you like that, huh? Jay McGuffey says, hologram hat. Yeah, if I go like this, if I lean over here, it kind of messes it up. But, yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody's got to hire up, and you got somebody you got to answer to. Basically what it comes down to, right? It's disappearing. Oh, no. Let's see if it goes away. Almost. There it goes. Hold on. Let's get it. There we go. We can get rid of most of it. I literally chopped off my hat and my head. Snaggletooth 1351, you said, I think yin and yang through all universe, even other planets and beings, there will be warmongers everywhere. Yep. Absolutely. Sky Blue says, is man-made climate change political or real? I think it's just ignorance. Like we were talking about earlier, is that it is an 11-year cycle coming from the sun. And I believe we're in the 4th or 5th year of that cycle. So you're going to get more solar flares. You know, they'll be coming towards Earth, which we had them recently. And every time as the 11-year cycle starts to ramp up, every planet in the solar system heats up. This is not a secret. This is science. And, you know, they'll turn it into political, sure. Or you said, or is it real? Well, it's both. It's both natural, and I think it's, you know, human beings are causing it as well because of all the carbon and the pollution in the air. It makes its way around the atmosphere, and of course it falls into the North and South Pole on the ice, and it turns it like a black. And of course we know black absorbs sun, accelerates you know, melting. So we have a small part to play in it, but that's not the real deal. That's not exactly what's going on. Like I said, every 11 years, anybody who's into radio knows that too. It's like every year cycle, the more it gets closer to that peak of that 11 years, you could talk all over the world on almost minimal power. He used to talk on it 15, 20 watts. He used to talk around the world. But he had to be closer to the 11-year cycle. Stephen Garnham says, 1 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. Bedtime. Take care, Chris, and all. You do the same, Steve, and we're going to be jumping off this here as well. It's actually 8 o'clock sharp here Eastern time, so we're going to jump off here as well. So we're going to jump off this bad whammer jammer as well, be able to chill out some. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for all your support. Your generosity is just unreal. And just the fact that you guys are here is just awesome. Like I said, I enjoy doing it. It's like Friday comes in, like, yeah, let's get ready, get the drink ready, get everything, you know. So I enjoy being here and spending the time with you folks. And like I said, I got another moon coming out, and we'll get some more changes coming up too. So and I'll be letting you guys in on that, and because I'm going to get some announcements for more channels, and there's going to be some exclusive stuff on another site, which, you know, I think it's like it might be like either $3 or $5 a month, but there's so many videos on this site, and I'll have some exclusive stuff on there as well. So it's kind of like, you know, you'll still be getting videos here, of course, but then you get some more exclusive stuff up there. It's going to be really, really cool. And the fact is that there's so much coming here. And like I said, I might have, like I said earlier, Dolly Indigo Star on here. And we're going to be working hand in hand a little bit here and there, along with her husband Thomas, Mikey Jensen, which does a lot of the documentaries, like the Baltic Sea, you know, anomaly type thing. He's done a documentary on that. So, you know, good, interesting stuff coming up. So stay tuned for that. So look out for that next moon. It's going to be basically the second part to it. I'm going to show you some weird things that are lined up all in a row. And then someone's like an arch shape you're seeing from the sky. So are these garbage? These rocks just happen to be falling right there, just where they're at, and they happen to have a nice straight column of shadow with 90-degree angles? As always, you guys will be the judge, right? Anyway, folks, thanks for being here. Thanks for all the support. You guys are awesome. Couldn't ask for a better bunch of folks. It's like like I said, it's always like the giant round table of conversation, and it's just awesome to be here with you folks. But anyway, everybody be safe. You know, watch out for each other. Have a great weekend, and stay healthy. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.